Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Speaking of patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Ben White, Maximum Gravy, Austin Whitsit, John Kays, DL Hill, Julian Jeremiah, Tommy Swagnuts, Michael Kahn, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Will Brax, Melby Styles, Troy Shuker, Bose Nail, Samson, Maris, Harry Blade, Mobile Max 777, Neo the One, Lost Cat FE, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Mike, Dick Earth Skeptic, Maria Nealand, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, The Real Gabster, Liam Nedrick Jr., Abraham Mohammed, Naibai, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic936, Life is Short, Fireball X, theflatearthchannel.com, Texas Mike, Edwin Johnson, and David Wayne Foster. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google, and you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show. Yeah, I've scheduled shows to come out at the regular times, Neil, so there should be shows. There was one last night. That's right. Okay, last night's was a short show. It was a short that I released at the time that I would normally release a full show. So just by coincidence, yesterday's time slot was filled up with the short video. That's all it is, Neil.
Good morning.
Hey, 10th.
Morning, 10th. Okay, so I don't know if you're recording, I don't know if you want to get into it with the dates. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, yesterday's show, they all went out the day after, like they usually do, because I didn't get any of them.
No, there was also a members-only show, and the day before I did a members-only show, I split the show into two different parts. One of it became members-only, and that'll get released next week.
Okay, I got it.
Same goes for some of the clips. Typically, I'd just release a clip as soon as I'd edit it. Now, I've put it up as a members-only video, left it for 2 or 3 days, then I'll release it.
So, 10th man, are you on the taps or on the wraps today?
Say that again? I just woke up. What are you talking about?
I said, are you on the taps or on the wraps?
Under taps or under wraps? I'm not following.
Because yesterday you meant to say you kept it on the wraps, and you said on the taps. And I said, since I butchered the English language, I'm going after 10th now. And then Nathan ended the show.
I don't recall. I can't even recall the conversation where I would even say that, but if you say so.
I think it's on the wraps, right? That's what you say? You're keeping something hidden or not revealing it, you keep it on the wraps?
No, it's not. I said the other day that the number one proof is obvious, and I've shared it before, but I'm waiting to use it again. I mean, you see it all the time. I talk about it all the time, so it's nothing new, but to me, it's the easiest way. I love the Black Swan. I love the Sexton argument, but there's one that takes him down much quicker.
Okay. You missed it.
I'm still waking up, Neil. Give me a break. I haven't even had my cup of tea.
He's made the mistake of telling us a bit too much already, Neil. So we're now going, well, what is it? And it's like, well, clearly he's waiting for Fundy to come in and say something specific so he can latch onto it and then rip it to shreds. But as it
Yeah,
stands, he's not telling us, Neil.
But it's not something that's so new either. I've talked about it. Everyone else has talked about it. We talked about it on the show. It's just there. We're not focusing on it. But you really can't focus on it until someone puts their foot in it. Once they put their foot in it, then this destroys everything on their model because it's so obvious.
So are we taking bets? Who's going to put their foot in it?
Although they all have already, but
Well, exactly. We don't know who's going to come in and stumble into this little bear trap that, he doesn't want to stick a sign up saying, "Look, bear trap."
yeah, it's kind of like if you wait until they make their point so strong that they think they have one, but they really don't, then you spring this on them, which is, again, it can be anticlimactic when I do it because you're going to say, well, we all knew that. But that's the whole point. It's right there in front of us all the time. It's like, why not use it?
Hide in plain sight.
It's their Achilles heel for everything, once and for all. Everything they have is built on assumptions. Everything.
Well, that's not a surprise. We know that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's anticlimactic when you say, the logical follow up to that. I assume this, I assume this, I assume this, and I finally assume this. So voila, I got my spherical world because of my assumptions.
Well, that's what I was talking about yesterday, with being honest and dishonest. I mean, come on, there's got to be scientists that know. They've seen it. The evidence is there. This is gone out now. This is not no little hidden corner in the internet like it used to be. Are they going to face it honestly, or are they going to continue in the lie? Or the deception?
Well, they have to first be cognitive that what they're pushing forward is a lie. So this is where we went about it yesterday. I think I'm trying to recall yesterday's conversation here, where some people know they're lying, some people are just in the way of a lie. They don't know they're lying, but they're pushing the lie, kicking the can down the road. It's a good way of saying it. And then there's the people who have shows about lies, about the nature of Earth, and we, bring it to their attention. Now, once you bring it to their attention, what do? Well, we've already had clear indication what they do. They either become like John, father of stolen child, and say, you know what? I've been lied to. The Earth is not a ball. Or they become anti-flat earthers.
Embrace against it.
Can I get a hello from you guys in Discord just so I can do a quick sound check? I don't know how to pronounce the person's name beginning with F.
Hi guys. Hello. Check. Hi Steve.
Hey, how you guys doing this morning?
What's your name? Fluff something?
My name is Steve.
Yeah, that's really hard to pronounce.
I don't talk very good either. Sorry about that.
Not you, Steve. What's your name, the other person?
You can call me Eric, Fleric.
Fleric. Ah, I see. Yeah, of course it is. Looking at it 2 or 3 times going, how'd you say that? Fleric. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, perfect.
Did you say I don't talk too good, Steve? The proper way of saying it is,
come off it, Neil. You're in no position to give anybody elocution lessons. Come off it.
Well, no, listen, I'm trying to get to a story. I dated a school teacher, and I said, this would be good for me because I can learn how to talk good. And she said, speak well. I said, see, that's what I'm talking about.
That would be what I am referring to.
No shit, Sherlock.
Not that's what I'm talking about. That would be what I am referring to.
Oh, I got you. You're correcting me. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I got
Cog's
it.
turn.
I've been hit in the head too many times. You know, I used to box oranges in Florida, but they hit back.
By the way, Neil, do you reckon the what's his name, crack villain guy, recognises yet that he's ultimately now been pushed into the position of whipping boy? That's what happens when you first join, right? I don't know if he realises that yet.
Yes, I do, but he don't.
Yeah, well, you had to be in that position for a while, so that's why I'm kind of gagging off for it now, because it's, you know, old news when a newbie comes along. You stop being the whipping boy, right? You start doing the whipping.
That's how it goes. Well, Eli's off the hook then.
Of course, Eli, yes, that's true. Eli came after you, didn't he? Yeah, that's right. I wondered why I was giving Eli stick. It's like, I'm sure I should be giving him crap. Yeah, I better give him crap. I don't know why, but that's why.
I will not be happy until I am on Dart's radar.
Yeah, that'd be interesting if he makes it onto a DATRH video.
I don't know why he hasn't already. I mean, I'm the perfect character to put in there.
Yeah, we're all waiting on with bated breath for the next Globe Earth Dictate video. Can't wait.
They're hysterical. They are hysterical.
Yeah, he's good. He's good at playing the characters. He's good at writing the script. He's good at putting up spins on what's presented now, what's on screen now. You know, has it in various different ways.
The first time I heard it, I was dying. Silence, Legolas!
Yeah, Arwen's Legolas. It's just got a picture of the guy from Lord of the Rings, hasn't it? The elfin character with the bow and arrow, which is basically, you know, a very close spin parody on Arwen.
Nathan, I got a slide we can go over mastery if you like.
Ooh, a slide. Happy days. Let's have a little look. Okay.
So obviously we've shown this picture before, but here it is with the text that's under it. And this is from a site that obviously pushes the globe version of the usage of the sextant. It says, in a very real sense, that's all there is to it. In principle, with a globe in hand, you can go out on the deck with your sextant, measure the altitude of 3 stars, plot the GPs of those stars on the globe, subtract the altitudes you shot from 90 degrees to determine the size of the circle. In degrees, to draw around each of the respective GPs where the 3 circles intersect is your position. Now, there's a few things to spot here. He's talking about 3 stars, 3 circles of equal altitudes, and he's talking about putting it on the globe. And yet he's got a 90-degree symbol from the center of each of those 3 circles to the outer ring of the circle. That's a radius. That's a straight line. How do you put that on the globe?
They don't have a straight line. Not only on the surface do they not have a straight line, they can't make a straight line to measure an angle because it's all refracted always.
But he's got 3 of them there.
No, Earth has them. Earth is capable of deriving these 90 degrees from the GP of each of these stars, the star being directly above this position by depiction. Now that 90 degree would be to your feet when you triangulate your position. It must be, because that's how triangulation works, and it must be a flat Earth for it to function, and it does.
Yeah, he's not being honest. He's not using a globe there because there wouldn't be straight lines.
But this is one of those situations we were just talking about. He could see that it's a 90-degree mark. He put it there, but it's now registering. Okay, so then early on, which I've already said, I can't believe they said it. What was that? What was the first thing they said that I thought came so early that I was shocked?
I don't know what you mean. What are you referencing? I'm not following along with what you're
The
trying
ballers. The ballers. I'll give you a clue.
Hold on. Be more even more specific. The anti-flat earthers.
Yes, the anti-flat earthers.
I'm with you now. Okay.
You don't need 90.
Hold on, Neil.
There you go.
Hold on. What did the anti-flat earther say, right? 10th man?
Yeah. What did they say, Neil?
You don't need 90 degrees.
Shh. Don't say 90. What's the
No,
article say?
It was we. We don't need 90 for triangulation.
Yeah.
They didn't say the last bit.
What does the article say?
The article says 90.
Oh, yeah. I wonder who put out 90.
All of the articles talk about triangulation, and its necessity for a 90 degrees is absolute in this regard. It requires 90 degrees. The bottom of the triangle has to be straight, can't be curved, or it isn't triangulation. You know, them saying, I'm okay to deal with an error. No, it's not like the tool is thinking, I'll just be okay with this curve. It's measuring an angle. Doesn't care, it's just a tool.
Yeah, but when you're doing 3 stars, when Tent explained that to me, and then he said that you're talking about thousands and thousands of feet of flat. I mean, is that not a wake-up smack?
Hey, crack villain.
Yeah.
What's up? Yo, brother.
Sky. No, it's not a wake-up sign to them, Neil. Obviously. If anything, they'll process it in the back of their mind. I don't know how... Whenever I try and phrase this, somehow QE manages to pull it apart and rephrase it back to me like it's stupid. So I'm just going to start using front of mind as in you... I was about to say consciously. That's normally what it picks up on. Anyway, what I mean by that is you do process it, but you don't sit and have an internal dialogue about it in a very conscious, meaningful way. You instinctually, if you will, recognise the problem, but then go out of your way to not have an internal dialogue about it and go out of your way to figure a way around it, even though you haven't cognitively processed the implications. That's what you're saying. Why can't they wake up to it? Well, because they're intentionally trying to keep it from being processed. That whole thing I've just described is cognitive pain. Just doing that is hard.
I guess everybody's different because I braced against it. I literally berated my brother for 2 weeks until day after day, I just could not prove this sphere. And then I was like, wow, Earth is flat. But then I welcomed it as if everything is brand new, like nothing that they said is true anymore. And it excited me.
Yeah, well, where it excites you, it terrifies next, man. Well, then that means everything I've existed in is a lie. Oh no, I can't contemplate. They can't cope with it. Yeah, I'm with you, Neil. Yeah, what a joy. All right. So, why is the sky blue? I don't know. What do they say is the reason? That's very heliocentric. Probably not that then. I don't know, is the end answer. Well, what a world of wonderful inquiry we now live in.
Oh, by the way, you got to check out the Joe Rogan. He's got that valuetainment guy on, Patrick Bet David, who does a bunch of interviews with like Sammy the Bogravano and Michael Francese, mafia guys. But Joe Rogan had him on the show, and he was talking about how it's a fact that civilizations were destroyed by asteroids hitting the Earth. Fact.
Okay. What do you want me to say? Total nonsense. The sky's not a vacuum. What do you want me to say, Neil?
But basically, how could there be... there can't be asteroids impacting Earth. And the proof he was saying was these people into cosmology and the people that study the Earth. That there's certain things in the Earth that proves that it was an
Okay,
asteroid.
yeah, say no more. Science says, is what you're saying. He said, right?
Yeah.
Science says. So what do we ask daily in terms of cosmology, Neil?
Well, that's the first thing I was thinking. Is you don't even have a viable hypothesis for any of these fields, and you're telling me that these things are fact?
Check out Neil, man. I'm so proud.
No, but I mean, he had Eddie Bravo right next to him, which I like Joe Rogan, I do, and I wouldn't want to get kicked by him either. And he's very intriguing, and he's a smart guy, but this gets me frustrated with him.
Right.
If you don't mind, I got a few more slides once you guys are done.
Sure. He has to have those opinions. He's mainstream. You know, he's like pretending to be alternate when he's actually mainstream. So not holding those opinions would mean he's not in the wouldn't be in the position he is. So the guests that he talks to, they wouldn't talk to him if he didn't hold those opinions. So I'm not sympathizing with him. I just know how it is for him. Now, I don't know. I've never really contemplated his position. I know a lot of others have when he became a bit of a turncoat in terms of his opinions on NASA. But other than that, it's like I don't really have an issue with him. He's caught up in some of the conspiratorial stuff. But if you think about it from his perspective, he's being confronted with all sorts of conspiratorial stuff all the time, right? And he probably just puts a big barrier up to all of it. Now, all of it being inclusive of the nature of the world in terms of the aspect of globe lies and all the rest of it. That's just, again, he's just going to stick with whatever's a mainstream narrative and discuss with his guests the alternative view, which is, pretty good. For your average normie, that's more than they normally do, right? But there then, has to be some sort of obligation on his part to believe some of the conspiracies he doesn't ultimately believe in because they're not part of the mainstream he's in. I don't know if that's reasonable. Now, again, I'll preface that by saying, yeah, I've seen him turncoat. So, yeah, moan at him all you like. I didn't even know who he was when he was doing that, so I don't care. But some of the guests he has on are useful because you can take apart some of the things they say to him, and they're talking because they're in front of him. Therefore, we get exposure to them, and even people like Mick West, who we cross over in terms of our guests with Joe Rogan. We pull apart the stuff that he says here, and if he goes and says the same thing there, we'll reiterate it. So, there's a mildly symbiotic relationship if you want to look at it from that point of view. I've got your lighthouse at 123 feet with a boat.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Okay.
Breaking up. Well, 10th sorts out his mic.
It's
Breaking up. Hold on, you're breaking up, 10th man. I don't know what's going on. Mike Jones, welcome to Penguin.
Hello, check.
Yeah, we can hear you better.
Okay. We'll go back to the original slide I shared, but right now let's go through some of these slides for reference. So obviously this is triangulation with the sextant using the lighthouse. So this is a vertical angle, just like you would do out in the middle of the ocean with a star, which they call lighthouses in the sky, by the way, since you don't have land or an actual lighthouse. So imagine this picture, the same thing happening out in the open ocean. And where you see the right angle, that would be from a star. Here it's from the lighthouse. So this is how a sextant works. This is about angles, right? I mean, it's just so obvious. And this is from their own site. Now let's go to the next picture. So how does the sextant actually work? Just like the slide before, I just copied it and put it on my own slide here. Now this could be anything. This could be a star in the middle of the ocean or the lighthouse. But there you have it. You have your 180, but the minute you have an altitude of something, that becomes the zenith, the 90. Once that is perpendicular with the 180, you have 0 to 90. And that's how you get your angle. Without that, that straight line is a 180 angle. That's one straight line there. If all you saw was that one straight line, they draw a circle around it and call that the equator. See, they have a 90 all the time. It's called their equator. So here we go. He's got a 45-degree angle to it. Let's go to the next slide. Now we've seen this as a article that came out from a guy saying this is how a sextant works with circles of equal altitudes, and he did this beautiful image, which is just proving what we just did. So you got 3 circles of equal altitude, you got the 90 box there, and you have a fix where they all cross. That's where you are. Somewhere on the circle, you need more than one to get a fix. You need more than one to triangulate. If you just have one, you just have a circle of position, but you don't know where you are on the circle until you get a second one. But you do know your distance. Next one. If we read this, it's from the same article. Let me make this bigger. From this, a navigator, at the bottom one. From this, a navigator knows he is on a specific circle along the plane of the surface of Earth. I mean, this is what we've been talking about. How can they say globe in hand in that first slide? And this guy says you're along a plane of the surface of the Earth, of radius r. See, the radius of the r from the center of that circle of equal altitude to you is a plane. You can't have a 90 without it. And the radius says you're on a plane, because the radius line is straight, known as the line of position, LOP. He does not know his direction from this point. However, by examining a second star, a second radius can be deduced. The navigator now knows he is at one of the points where both the circular functions meet. In the case that there are only, hang on, it's getting a little too small. In the case that there is only one real route, he knows his position, although this is only possible if the radii are parallel. Paul game over right there. More realistically, he can look up a third star in order to find the intersection between 3 circles. This will give him his location to a certain precision based on the precision of his watch, altimeter, and the divisions of the reference table. So he's pretty much saying what we're saying here, but he said it a little different than the first slide. The first slide, the guy said globe in hand, and this guy's saying the plane of the surface of the Earth. So if you go back to the original slide, the one with the 3 circles on the writing underneath it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go through it. In a very real sense, that's all there is to it. In principle, with a globe in hand, while the other guy had a plane, you could go out on the deck of your ship, basically, with your sextant, measure the altitude of 3 stars. Sextant, what is a sextant that you're going out on the deck of a ship to measure? Sextant is an angle measuring device. Angles are straight lines. What's altitude? Let's break it down. It's 90. It's zenith. Okay. Circle size, the next one. Of those stars on the globe, subtract the altitudes you shot from 90 to determine the size of the circle. A circle is not a sphere. A circle is flat. And from the center of that circle to you is the radius, as this last slide I read, in degrees, to draw around each of the respective GPs. Where the 3 circles intersect, that's your position. 2021, year of the sextant.
So you can't go out with a globe. You have to go out with a flat circle if you're going to do that.
It relies on it being flat plane. Yes, Neil. Was someone trying to add something from Discord? Just 1 second. Somebody trying to add something from Discord?
No, that was crack.
Oh, was it?
No, I just said that was perfect. Perfectly explained. That really helped me to understand exactly what you're talking about there, 10th. I believe you're 10th, right? So yeah, that really did help me because like you're stating, right? Obviously on a globe, effectively with a curved surface. This is not possible. This is impossible. And I started to look into them. I started to actually look into the manuals of a sextant, and what Tenth is saying is completely true. It really is. Like it's outlined in their very own manuals. So people, please go ahead and do it for yourself if you think that you are. And I'm starting to notice the Globers now on this sort of debatory panels across the land of Discordia. They're sort of starting to become experts on the sextants overnight. Quite funny. Tenth starts to outline all of this stuff. He starts to essentially break it down, shows how it's only applicable to a flat plane, and then all of a sudden they have rebuttal. No, they have not, because what are their rebuttals? The rebuttals are, well, you could still draw these circles on a globe on top of a curved surface. Again, how are you doing that? Do you have a 90? Do you have a straight line? You have a curved line to the bottom of your triangle. You do? Oh, okay. Is that a triangle? How do you find a 90-degree angle when you have a curved surface? When you have a curved bottom to your triangle?
You can't. And that was my point the other day. How come this wasn't brought out by the Globers years ago? Look at this tool we got. This proves Earth is a globe. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, sorry for the lateness also, Nathan. Sorry about that.
Off with his head.
Arwen dragged me into his live stream, and I was like, okay, maybe this isn't starting yet, and then I don't have the notifications on for Master B, I guess, or for Skype, so I'm gonna have to turn them on.
You're gonna get docked in your pay. That happened to me. You'll see when DITRH sends you your check, it's gonna be minus a couple of dollars.
Oh no.
A couple of things in this chat. You can buy, if you do decide that you've got verbal diarrhea for whatever reason, you can basically disrupt the whole show. I don't have, as a last resort, I can mute you in G+, but it's very, very, very rare that occurs. So typically you have to exercise a little bit more discipline because there's less control that I can exercise over you in terms of you, like now, with your mic wide open while I'm in the middle of a sentence. That sort of thing just causes audio feedback. So you just have to be quite vigilant. I'll tell you now, nice and calm, but if I'm barking at you, you'll remember this conversation being nice. Remember I said it nicely?
His mic is not wide open. He's on mute.
It was.
I'm watching everything that goes on.
Trying to help the guy, man. Give him a break. He just got here.
He gave me a break. It's cool. Don't you worry.
It's all good. Everyone gets the same conversation.
He's tough anyway. Listen, he's tough anyway. He ain't going to get offended.
Oh, I'm not.
No, I am. I'll get really annoyed really quickly about it. When I'm editing it, especially. I had to apologise to Arwen, so I was in the middle of editing something. And if there's ever somebody talking through someone else, especially when it's our opponent making a concession, that just makes me so angry. So while I'm editing it, just went to my screen recorder, recorded what I was editing on the editing suite with the mic part of the screen recorder on. I'm like, look, Arwen, look how much difficult you're making my life. This is Arwen trying to get a joke in or something while Bob's making a really important concession about not having a straight line. And I can just hear Arwen, so I'm trying to edit around it. And eventually I just got, like I say, sick of it and sent it to him. I'm like, this is what you caused. You're making my life hard. And then the following day, I'm like, I'm really sorry, Arwen. It's a really, really bad mood. And he's like, no, I am totally my fault. I'm like, yeah, but you don't need moaning at. So anyway.
I'm actually asking that people moan at me at the beginning, if that is possible, so that I do actually get the gist of what's going on. Because for myself, obviously, this is completely new to me. I won't be offended. My first interaction with Nathan Oakley was actually, how dare you try to moderate my chat when I was in the Discord, and I tried to hand it over to Elijah when it was handed over to me, and you took great offense to that, and I never held it against you, so don't worry, I've got a thick skin.
Never held it against me, but you still remember it.
I still remember it because no, but the point was is I still remember it, but I remembered it because it was informative. That's why.
Jolly good. The other thing is, back off your mic a little bit, just because when you're enthusiastic, because you're still the same distance, you're setting off plosives. if you're asking for criticism, I might as well tell you that now. I'd normally wait a few days.
Nobody's in Chocolate's league though. Chocolate gets cursed at and everything. I still haven't got sweared at, but Chocolate has.
Well, no, I was sworn at that day. Is this better, Nathan?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, sorry. It's just that it's to do with the microphone. That's all. Yeah, I know. I can keep it at this distance.
That's perfect, because then if you do get louder at that distance, it'll just be dynamically a bit louder. But it's all good. I've got no volume control for each of the guests in G+ either. So yeah.
And then there's also, I learned this too. When you got somebody and I know that you're gonna clip it out and use it, I just sit there and be quiet.
What a load of bollocks.
Yeah,
Do you want me to send you half a dozen Neil
That's not true.
interruptions? So in Bob, I couldn't even name it because I edited it a couple of days ago. It's fresh in my mind.
Oh yeah,
So,
I couldn't help it.
While Bob's confessing to something important, you're saying, it only works because the Earth's flat, you daft bastard, right through the middle of him.
Yeah, I said I couldn't help that one.
But you just remain on mute when you know I'm going to click something out, right? Yeah, whatever.
Until I can't take it no more.
Yes, I'm
Remember
often,
the hard work.
I'm often editing around ejaculations from Neil.
Wow.
Totally miserable of me to be saying this, by the way. I'm very grateful for my panel being here at all. If you weren't, I wouldn't have a show. So I should just be thanking you. But treat me and keep them keen.
Well, it's also, I guess, an honour for us guys to be here with you as well.
Oh, don't give me that shit.
Else.
You don't have to do that anymore.
No, listen, not because of who you are. Not because of who you are, sir.
You'll regret this quick, I'll tell you.
This is.
Shh,
No,
I'm funding muting you for a reason. Saying shit like this, believe me, you'll regret it in the future when we have a heated discourse about something. So don't suck up too much, otherwise you'll end up like Darwin.
Crack, don't listen to him. You want to know what my first words were when I got on? I said, "Is this the legend? Is this Nathan Oakley?"
Yeah, what a load of bollocks.
Yeah, I wasn't even talking about Nathan. I was talking about the collective. The collective of.
That's more like it.
Crack,
that's better. You see, that's a save. Yeah, definitely. As a collective, FED is awesome. As a collective, I would agree. Force to be reckoned with.
And that really was what I was talking about. It really wasn't you, Nathan. I'm sorry to say it.
Fuck you. Get out. I'm going to edit that out. So yeah,
cool,
I know you're not. I know it's genuinely about the show. The show is something that's a collective effort, and the main panel are a big part of that.
Well, look at the understanding that 10th just got me to in a matter of seconds. That's invaluable to me. So just little things like that. That is what makes it an honor to be here, is the fact that there's a collective knowledge here that effectively isn't anywhere else, as far as I'm concerned. Well, it is in other places, but not in this format where it's propelled out to the masses or whatever, or potentially to the masses.
Well, Kent and Nathan, they have a way of, when they speak, painting a picture that even if you didn't have the slides, I could see it in my mind. Very good.
Also, Arwen is ace.
Hello.
Hello. Good show?
Yeah, it was nice and calm. Not so rowdy, but still entertaining and interesting.
Did I ruin something, Arwen, by coming in within like 5 seconds and getting the conundrum?
Yeah, you kind of did.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Arwin, 10th Man, Neil, what else we got? Crack Villain, Brian's Logic. Did I miss anybody? No, a whole bunch of people in Discord, and that's it. Welcome one and all.
Greetings.
Hey,
Hello,
good morning.
Good afternoon.
Shout out to Michael
Yo,
Jones,
yo.
who joins as a penguin during the pre-show. So big shout out to you, Mike Jones, for joining. You can check out all the Bob videos I've released as members only. So good on you, my friend. Thank you very much indeed. Smash the super chat in supporting this channel and all that stuff that I said in the intro. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curvature?
Negative.
Absolutely none.
Wow, loud and clear from two panel members.
Yeah, just can't fault the enthusiasm level. Excellent stuff. Anyone in
It
Discord,
should be
feel
right
free to
over
join in.
there.
Hey, we've got Bev in today. Hey, Bev. He's on server mute. Why isn't Bev automatically allowed to be talking in here? What's going on?
Exactly.
Today.
Make me a mod and I can make sure none of that ever happens ever again.
I can't make anybody anything. It's not my server. Hey, Bev.
How are we doing?
Very well, very well. Enjoying your shows recently. A big shout out if you haven't subscribed already to Bev Try Thinking. Subscribe today. Hours and hours of entertainment. Just love it. Really enjoying your videos.
Thank you very much.
Any evidence?
Good morning, Bev.
Any evidence of
Sorry.
axial? We'll get there. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
None
You need R
whatsoever.
for that.
Any evidence for axiom rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Axiom
Axiom
rotation.
rotation.
Of the Earth-based variety.
That's what we're experiencing. We have experienced
right.
past tense. We experienced an axiom rotation.
Indeed. So there is evidence for that.
Well, yeah, we had a flat Earth, then we had a globe Earth, now we've got a flat Earth. The whole thing's just spinning perpetually. For all we know, it's going to transition in the next 20 to 30 years to a flat plane that everyone always knew anyway, obviously. And then 100 years on, it'll go back to the globe again. Why not?
The Black
No,
Swan,
no,
and
not
now
back
the
to.
Sextant kill it.
Right, those silly 20th century people. Like so primitive, they actually believed it was a globe. Can you believe it?
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
I literally don't. I literally don't believe it. That's the point. It's more than silly, if you ask me.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
None whatsoever.
It's over there.
What is it?
I don't
Who
know
is
what
it?
I don't know. One of those wondrous questions we can now ask as flat earthers.
Everybody.
What is it, and how
Hey,
can we
Ryan.
worship it?
That is the better question, though. What is the sun?
There was somebody on Brandon's the other night. I heard him talking. He's like some kind of theoretical astrophysicist or something. I think it was something like that anyway.
I am
And he was doing a
PhD.
lot- yeah, something like that. And he was doing a lot of talking about the sky and making a lot of claims and stuff. And I just came in and asked him. I said, all your distances are all in light years and light time. And he agreed, and I said, but there's no, I said, but I was asking, can you present me a one-way speed of light measurement then? And who measured it and when it happened? And he had to admit he couldn't. So
That's him wrecked.
Have you had it? Have you hacked it out? Will you edit it and stick it on your channel, Brian?
no, I didn't, because it was on Brandon's, and it was all kind of everyone was trying to talk in, and it was
On
like
Brandon's.
the old way.
Sorry,
Yeah, so it wasn't calm, that kind of way.
I misheard you because I was shouting out Bev, and one of his most recent videos was I misunderstood what you were saying. So this was on Brandon's. Yeah, if you can get hold of it and trim it out, that'd be a nice addition to your channel.
Yeah, I might have a listen back and see. It's just a chaos ensued as well. There was people coming in because on Brandon's it's just like as soon as anyone says anything that goes against what other people want to hear, people come in to defend the person that's being like people are coming in to defend the guy when there was no way to defend it. He already admitted that you can't have that there was no one-way speed of light measurement, and he is the most educated there in there. Pseudoscience, so.
Oh,
check it out.
Me. It becomes Brandon's shit show. That's why I don't go there.
No need. Right. Shout out to Godzilla37 who says, this is the other of my every other super chat read by Nathan, winky face. I'm sorry, Godzilla. I do genuinely try to read every single super chat out. And occasionally, if there's a heated discourse going on, I'll like now, put it on the main screen so people can see it. So even if I forget, at the very least, I hope they all get seen. But thank you very much for your support, and I'm really sorry if I haven't read something from you. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
No.
Maybe the sun has a black body because signals don't bounce off it.
Black body.
But then again, they are claimed to do that anyway, so that kind of completely negates the whole thing.
I'd just add to what Owen just said. The whole idea of bouncing signals off of spheres, as it is anyway, if you know anything about stealth technology, you remove all right angles, right, from the fuselage of the plane in order that you would have a form of a stealth shape. So it would be kind of a little bit, and I'd say antithetical to the idea even, right, that you could have a paint, or should I say an echo, from radar off of, or even using cosmic background radiation from a sphere, because a sphere is basically the ultimate stealth shape. So that in and of itself is completely ridiculous and redundant.
Shout out to Godzilla37 again, who says, I'm just poking fun. I know it's not intentional. Keep up with the good work. Really appreciate the support. Thank you very much indeed, Godzilla.
Well, on the black body
Good morning,
issue,
peeps.
hey, Chocolate.
Hey.
Yo, Choco.
Hey.
On the black body issue, the other night there on Brandon's, there was talk about that came up, and about how the sun is not a perfect black body, so you can still bounce supposedly certain wavelengths of light off it. This kind of stuff. So I asked the question, and it didn't go down well. I said, "How do you define a black body then? How do you define?" And I asked, what exact wavelength are you speaking about? Is it microwave, shortwave? What is it that you're? Well, what is it you're speaking about? And when it came down to how do you define the black body? Then, I mean, how do you determine that something is a black body for a start? Because I don't see them in nature. Number one, I don't know much about them, but I don't see what they call a black body in nature. Outside of what they claim about the sun. Sorry?
Do you mean in terms of its effect? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, the claim that the sun is not a perfect black body means that there can be black bodies of different degrees in that claim. So, what defines a black body? Because
exactly,
be 60% a black body. Do you know what I mean?
Well, exactly. It's been a little bit married, but surely if you're going to describe it a la its effect, the right color, wouldn't that be tan?
And well, the thing about it is if you can claim that the sun is not a perfect black body, then how do you define a black body? The whole point of a definition is that it clearly defines something. How do you define something?
We've got a panel member who's got a perfect black body. Good morning, Chocolate.
Nobody's got a perfect black body, and everyone wants.
No, Chocolate, his black body, and he has a lot of knowledge about this.
What the hell?
I think
But this is not a dating site, okay? Can we move on, Brian?
I heard Ethiopians
I miss
have
you
the
guys
perfect
when I'm
black
not
body.
here.
Yeah, sorry. I was just bringing up that thing, that, like the claim. I can't remember what it was. Someone on Brandon said it's not a perfect black body, so you can still bounce certain frequencies off it. It's like it's Weasley. You're not going to be. It's like, well, how do you define a black body then? How do you define in physics what a black body is then?
May I finish my statement? Chocolate, has anyone bounced anything off your perfect black body?
Brilliant.
Yeah, get a room.
Yeah, I used to do laundry on my abs and stuff. Yep.
This is going to descend fast if I don't ask another housekeeping question. Any scientific evidence of gravity? I've already asked that.
No.
Any
You
scientific?
need R for that, though.
Any scientific evidence of gravity? Anybody? Discord server?
Nah, what's that?
Well, it is claimed to be education when you're taught about gravity. They're claiming to educate you. This is what Tony has a problem at the moment. If they're claiming to educate you, if they can call something education, they teach you something that there isn't scientific. For a start, there is no scientific validity for. And secondly, they're teaching the majority of the populace the out-of-date version and description of it. So,
Can you explain why you need a? Can you explain why you need a radius? Because I keep having it out with someone in Nathan's chat, and they claim you don't need a radius for R.
Okay, center of M1 would be the radius. If you're talking about mass attracting mass, then they're asserting the center of M1 as Earth. You're going to need R for that, aren't you?
Correct. Thank you.
Can we move on? Any more? Any more for any more?
That's the level that we're at, that the people who think they live on a ball think that ball doesn't require a radius. That's where we're at in 2021.
No, they do. But if you don't label it, no one will notice. And then you don't have to justify it. That's how it works.
Well, that's corny as hell.
Or, alternatively, if you get caught out using it, just deny that you used it. That's the other route. What are? I don't know what you're talking about. What sphere? I'm not even claiming a sphere. What are you talking about?
I mean, they used to fight for this R, right? Now it's like, oh, we don't need R. What? What are you talking about? I thought y'all used to fight for that. That was your ball right there, bro. All your mathematics uses this R, bro. Like, how do you not? I don't. We don't need R. Oh, okay.
Well, it's things like this that make me skeptical that it's an exercise in filling in the cracks in the heliocentric rhetoric, i.e. we're here coerced into being part of the controlled narrative because we're just helping the people who have this bullshit as part of their rhetoric figure out a way of covering up the cracks. That's the only analogy I can use. We expose them, they cover them up. But then when it comes to, well, are you really going to fill in this crack with, we don't need R? Really? Is that going to be your way forward? I mean, come on, that's pretty
what
poor.
I'm saying.
Well, Virus
That's
said
the amazing part.
Virus said the other day that the radius is a straight line, and then he said that R is intrinsic. And somebody jumped on the show right afterwards and said, well, that would mean it would have to be inside rather than outside the ball Earth. Now, can someone go over that? Because I'm not familiar with this intrinsic math.
Sure, if he's going to derive an intrinsic R value so he can slice through it with a chord to say that the area, that the circle of a semi-chord, that would be a radius of the circle of equal altitude sliced off the top of a sphere, then you've got an intrinsic R value deriving a 90 degree to it when they use zenith. So that's how they're saying it's intrinsic. Well, I've got to use it to get my measurement. Why? Well, because I've got to assume I'm on a sphere. That's basically it.
So that's the triangle within the circle that they always show.
Exactly. So where they're saying they don't need triangulations or 90 degrees, what they actually mean is where it's not used in practical application, I will be using triangles and I will be using 90 degrees intrinsic to a sphere, I assume, and isn't applied to the triangulation on the flat plane we actually use sextants with.
So therein lies.
Exactly.
So therein lies their problem. With the sextant, where are they making the observation from?
From the ground on Earth in reality.
Not from the center of a presupposed circle.
No, definitely not. I mean, they can
How are they gonna get
attempt to apply that after the fact, and they do. That's what they're arguing with us now. But it's very quickly dealt with when we ask them where they get the R.
Oops.
Could we quickly go back to the gravity question? Just very quickly.
Sure. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Well, there is no scientific evidence for gravity. This is what I'm saying in terms of if you look at the way that this is worded, right? Scientists say they have proven the existence of gravitational waves, the ripples in space-time that stem from objects moving throughout the universe. If true, it's the first time these waves have been measured directly and marks one of the biggest scientific discoveries in decades, where there have been few false alarms in the past, okay? So then, effectively, what we then have is the wording next is, if this is true, does anyone have a problem with the way that that's worded?
That's what stood out to me.
Sorry, you started off by saying that a ripple in space-time? What, pseudo-Riemannian four-space mathematical... It started off by defining a dimension that doesn't exist, that this is happening in. That's my issue.
Last time I had...
If this was true.
Last time I had ripple, it was on top of a table.
My issue would be that
my main issue as well. Not only is it that it's in a conceptual medium that they cannot prove, is the fact that in their own wording. So this is why I have a problem with the ballers. It's like, go back to the actual source material that told you what stated that there were, and they talk about these wave interactions between the two black holes, and then it simply states that scientists have proven gravity via the detection of these waves and the merging of them and bouncing of them off one another from the black hole, right? From the two black holes. But then in the next paragraph, they say, if this is true, if this did occur, okay, well done. You've just basically admitted that you didn't do it.
Yeah, well, it's like they're actually not even being correct when they're stating that. They're not even being honest by saying if this is true. They should say, if this was true, because then it's being honest. Just saying, if this was true, like if unicorns were real, then blah, 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 we'd have bark taken off of trees by their horns at a particular height in all the locations they live in Albania. You know, if unicorns were real, like if this was true. But what they're saying, if this is true, they're not even putting in a was. You know, they're not even giving it this is all just making believey stuff. They're not even being honest about that.
Right, it's ascribing mathematics to their observations and saying, see, we told you so. So if I have a whole load of mathematics that describes the sky as Narnia and then detail how I will observe something that looks like it shouldn't be there, but then when you look with lots of different cameras, you do actually see like a donut shape. Well, if I get that, that's going to prove how the time dilation is actually functioning in Narnia, which is my version of space. It's the sky vacuum in their story. It's Narnia in my story. And time dilation in Narnia is very much a thing in the story. Well, it's going to be very much a thing that I'm going to say, I'm going to see an effect of. And there you go. Look, that's the effect I was describing. See that in the sky? That's what I was describing when I was describing the time dilation in Narnia. Do you see there's two of them and how they interact? yeah, that correlates with my mathematics that I described long before I even saw it. So obviously it's just proving what I describe as time dilation in Narnia, because we've seen it now. Proving my mathematics. No. But yes, that's what they do, and that's how they describe it, and there are some weasel words that will slip through the net, like, if this is true, what, if we live in pseudo-Riemannian fourth-dimensional space-time? Yeah, we don't, though, do we? So that if is kind of redundant. No, it's not true. No, we don't live in pseudo-Riemannian fourth space. Yes, they saw a light in the sky. That's about the only truth in that.
So how come the anti-flat earthers can't admit this to themselves? You know, when we have such prominent people that write such prominent articles simply stating, you know, scientists say they've proven the existence of gravitational waves, you know, talk about the ripples of space-time that stem from the objects throughout the universe. If true, well, how can you? This is basically convoluted at best. But for the anti-flat earthers, I would challenge you to refute that what they say, because it's them that you have a problem with, because it's where these misinterpretations come from. Obviously, they're already in the sky vacuum, as Nathan likes to call it, Narnia, and also in this conceptual abstract medium of space-time, something that cannot be attributed physicality to, you know, warping and bending of something that isn't even physical. But if you listen to the wording of your very own puppets, they admit it in their very own language in the very first sentence.
Well, Crack, the thing about it is this. The normal science experiment starts with an observation of an effect, a natural effect. And you look for the natural cause of that natural effect. That's like your dependent variable is your natural effect. Your independent variable is what you think is possibly the natural cause of the effect. But when it comes to Albert Einstein, he gave them the cause. So they start off with the cause, and then they go and search for the effects.
And thus we have pseudoscience.
Yeah, it's backward. It's they prove the cause by finding the effects. If you know what I mean, rather than seeing the effects and then proving a cause. So that's how they work it.
Well, yeah, of course, and they do it in that way specifically in order to and if people can't see that is in order to trick the minds of the people, then again, like I would say again, then you guys basically need to fix up, look sharp, in the words of Dizzy Rascal.
Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius? Also, shout out to Retro Bill. He says, epic week on Flat Earth debate. Have a great weekend, boys. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat.
Black Swan.
That's a negative.
Black Swan.
Bev might have heard some people with evidence. He seems to get a lot of those people over his channel.
Those people, we don't use those sorts of words here, Brian. I know they're very behind the times in Ireland.
Correction, those assholes.
Right, Neil.
That's more like it.
Bev hasn't piped up. Maybe he's away from his mic.
Oh well, I think Bob's made a video for you, hasn't he?
You have to clarify which Bob, I'm afraid.
Me. Bob the liar guy. You know.
Okay.
Bob the fallacy guy. Yay.
Yeah, he's made a video. I'm sure he put it in the chat earlier. Here is our Nathan. You're welcome. I don't know whether it's a new one or whether it's an old one. He's hot at the minute, isn't he, Bob?
Here is our is the name of this video.
Is that the case? Hold on. I don't keep up
in the main chat. Just a bit earlier.
I don't know, Bev, is the truth. I don't keep up with Bob. But if you're saying he's hot right now and I've got a whole stack of videos lined up to come out on him, then that's good news for me.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
The superstar.
Excellent. Oh, I didn't know it. Maybe I'd have been a bit more intimidated if I'd have known
By
it.
appointment only. By appointment only, don't forget.
Is that why he's got a bit
second.
self-righteous? He's on riding the wave of a bit of popularity at the moment. He thinks he's a bit more important than he actually is.
Did you not see his hat? He showed his hat the other day.
His ad?
His hat.
Hat?
He's got a hat. Yeah, he's got a hat.
Okay. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't keep up with Bob. I'm sorry.
Oh,
You'll have to explain
well,
what the significance of this
Yeah,
hat is.
please explain.
He
Please
was
no-
talking
please
about
no me.
military things and how he comports himself as an officer or something. I don't know. It might have even been a major's hat. But yeah, military hats. He was showing his hat the other day.
Oh, that's
Can
nice.
someone
Is
please
that his
send me the
proof of
video?
R?
That's what I was going to say. Is that his radius? 'Cause
Yeah,
you can hide one here.
Like nobody cares
He
about
also
his hat.
said he outranks
Does he
QE.
actually have R though?
Hold on.
That'd be
This hat's generated a lot more discussion than I was expecting. Let's just see if I get some
Yeah.
order. Let's just have Chocolate finish, and then I think someone from Discord wanted to add something. Go ahead, Chocolate. No, go ahead. Whoever it was that was trying to get a word in from Discord.
Okay, I would.
That was me,
SE
Nathan.
Montreal. Go ahead.
He also claimed that he outranks QE. He showed us, and he said QE is unbecoming of a gentleman, and if he had him in his office, he would make him salute him.
Sorry, is it wartime? Did I miss something? What's going on?
I think
Yeah,
it's wartime.
yeah,
Yeah,
Wait
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
1 second.
Chewie and
1
Bob.
second. I need to make a comment. So, okay, so is this Bob, the science guy?
Yeah.
Not much.
What
science, I'm
nationality is
afraid.
Bob the science
Let me
guy?
put you on game. We don't call him that here. Here he is, Bob.
He's,
Well, he's
uh,
American, of
Thank you.
course.
He's researched
Okay.
Flat Moon now. He's changed his.
He's got a whole bunch of
Just-
them. Research Flat
Yeah.
Jupiter. He's got a whole bunch of socks. Sorry, SE in Montreal. Feel free to continue.
No, we're just cracking up. It was funny, Nathan, the way he was saying it. You know, if I had QE here, he'd be saluting me, unbecoming of an officer, and it was funny.
Yeah, but it's not. We're not in wartime. They're not in a chain of command. What the fuck is he going on about?
Again,
Well, he
what
was
part of the
saying that
military is he
his
from?
behavior and blah blah blah. It's unbecoming of an officer, and
No, it's
Okay.
not. No, it's not. It isn't unbecoming of an officer to speak in the way of QE. Again, what arm of the military is he from? What military is he from? Secondly, someone sent me a picture of the hat, and then yeah,
well, American military, of course. Was he in the Navy? I'm not sure. I think he's a Navy man. I could be wrong though.
was QE
Well,
in
maybe-
the Navy? Was QE
maybe-
in the Navy?
The U.S. Army.
Maybe he thinks R stands for rank.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We don't. I don't recognise any of this stuff. I don't know why it's being discussed particularly. Who cares? We're not in that arena. There is no chain of command in that respect. Had they have been serving together at the same time in the same location, he would have outranked him. Wow, that's fascinating. Meanwhile, they need an R value that they haven't got for a globe belief that they hold dear. Do we care about former rank? Who cares?
Meanwhile, when you ask him if you got a straight line for a sextant, he wants to
Correct me if
schedule an
I'm-
appointment.
Correct me if I'm wrong. QE has never mentioned, not once, his rank. In other words, he's never pulled rank, nor is he mentioned once, from memory, correct me if I'm wrong, has he ever
He did
mentioned his
recently.
education status
Very
either?
recent.
He did recently. He said he was an officer.
I think someone pinned him on it. I do remember that, actually. It was in Ballbusters. He said between an officer and a gentleman, and then I asked him, I think, or someone else asked him, are you an officer? And he tentatively replied, yes. That's the first time he's ever mentioned it. The same goes for his education. He just doesn't pull those kinds of... It doesn't pull rank. Because he's not in that arena. He's always said to me, at least, why would I? It's like, I don't need to. My argument is what you need to pay attention to. Not where I stood in my position or education status in whatever previous employment I had. Who cares? It's just not relevant to the argument at hand.
And QE, just to defend him, he was talking more about honesty between officers, not pulling rank above or below. And that's why I simply stated, what branch of the military is he even in for him to be saluting him over? Because they probably wouldn't have even been in the same arena whatsoever for them to be saluting one another. And that's all I was saying on the matter. End of.
Yeah, well, there's no rank in this arena.
And
you
look
know,
how
you're-
all this time we're talking about that nonsense and not how he has no straight line for his freaking globe. He's got no R, nothing. Right? We're talking about rank and nonsense. See how that works? Good job, Bob.
well, the rank in this arena is only the strength of your argument. That gives you a rank. You know what I mean? If you want to see if there's any rank, it comes down to how strong your argument is.
Right.
You know, the weaker argument, the lower rank at that particular time on that subject. That
Further
can
to
change
that, it's
tomorrow.
your argument if you're making it. You know, all this crap about, oh, well, that's just a QE argument. That's QE's scientific method. You're like, why are you trying to downplay the strength of an argument you're not responding to by ascribing it to somebody? Oh, yeah, that logical fallacy. Yeah. No, the person making the argument made the argument. They've put forth that you haven't got an R value. You turning around and saying, oh, that's a QE argument. That's not a rebuttal.
Is there any scientific evidence for rank?
We haven't had that question. Well, just one sec. We haven't had that question. So, any evidence of R?
Oh, I responded. Black Swan.
Oh, yeah, you did, didn't you? That was what we were on last. We might as well get to the full extent of housekeeping questions because we haven't had a full batch of them for a while. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
You'd have to have an OR value even to start with that, wouldn't you?
Too sick again.
Yeah.
That would be a measurement, which isn't there.
I think that's it. That actually concludes housekeeping. I think we did do them all.
Yeah, this nonsense about...
Apparently, Rumpus is going to find R this weekend, Nathan.
No,
in
it's not going this
2021,
weekend.
unknown, faceless, nameless YouTuber, the Rumpus, finally got R. According to them, we've known we're on a sphere for thousands of years. Yet, what? It falls at Rumpus's feet to prove R. You'd think in a pinch they'd be able to get something with a little bit more class, a little bit more clout than a nameless, faceless troll on YouTube for their R value. Can you not get me something with a little bit more pep to it? I mean, obviously in the past you had dip angle measurements to a physical geometric sphere edge horizon you assumed. Now we just point out that Al Biruni climbed up a mountain he measured on a flat plane and laugh at you. But that kind of textbook validity that we can now laugh at is the kind of thing I'm looking for. Not the Rumpus, a proven liar, faceless troll from YouTube. That's where you're going to get... If you lay that on my desk as your proof of art, I will piss my pants with laughter. Oh, right. In 2021 It was proven. Wow, you'd have thought they'd have proven that long before making the claim that we're on a sphere. And then when it came down to the brass tacks of proving it, it was a Rumpus-based YouTuber. Oh, wow. That sounds really, really credible.
But Rumpus did
He
say it's
claims
only in the maths.
18-foot drop that he's going to see. That's what he expects.
Drop? Drop would be based on an R value he's got in existence when he makes the claim. So he's going to need R for that claim of R if he's claiming it by way of drop. Oh, my God, it's just a circle jerk do-si-do.
Now we need some Pepto-Bismol for that. That was the 10th.
Rumpus was
If
the
you
first
hear the
person to
details,
say...
you're going to die of laughter. What he plans to do, the poles, the woods, it's comical.
Rumpus was the first person to say after the Black Swan came out that the R value is only in the maths.
That was geometric horizon. No, that's geometric horizon. The geometric horizon only exists in the maths. That's the full quote. The geometric horizon only exists in the maths.
Yeah, but that is also where this is the point. The R value is only in the maths then because you need the geometric horizon to measure it. Rumpus said everything is always refracted. So how does he know how much drop there's going to be if there's always going to be refraction? He has no idea. According to him, it'll always look straight and flat.
It's George. Is where he gets all his info from. That's why I came round here today. I've got a video coming out later on about Rumpus and his test that he's doing very soon. And we're going out there this weekend on Sunday to put a camera behind an auto level so everyone can see what exactly you'll be able to see when looking down a stretch of canal, well, Bedford Old River, 6 miles to see whether you can actually see anything at the other end of it. Rumpus claims you can. I mean, listen to the later on today. He's claiming all sorts of stuff. It's very interesting, Rumpus's test, actually, because whereas Rowbotham and Wallace have always gone for the hump because that's the way water stays level, and that's the easiest way to imagine it. And you're also bringing the quadratic function of the half distance, which is a quarter. You're not looking for too much. But Rumpus is looking for the full drop of the water level, a measured drop of 18 feet, but he's already 10 foot above the water. So that means he's got to hoist his target 20 odd feet up in the air, according to Rumpus. And so can you imagine that contraption?
Right, so he's trying to ascertain a drop value. Well, the drop value he's attempting to ascertain is already based on his presupposition of a sphere.
Well, the test, I don't know if you've ever kept an eye on George and his Rainy Lake experiment.
Oh, yeah, I'm a big fan of
doing.
George. No, I'm sorry, you'll have to fill me in. Sorry.
Well, George has got a target 2.7 miles across a lake, and then he's got another target 6 miles away, right? So it's basically similar than the Bedford levels, the 6 miles, and it's got a target at the midpoint. But rather than just measuring distances, they lift the target to the crosshairs.
Crosshairs?
Supposedly.
Hold on. They're viewing this stuff. And they're accounting
Yeah.
for the fact that it will drop towards the horizon with perspective, right?
They've got a crosshair that's in the auto level.
No, I get
or
that.
the theodolite.
Yeah, but immediately you're saying it's optical. What they're doing is optical, correct?
Yeah.
Right, but
Yeah,
optically...
completely optical.
But you also said they're looking for drop. Well, optically it will drop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think surely they're not going to reassign that as Earth curve, are they?
Oh, yeah. They
Oh,
fully expect
come
that to be
on.
the water level dropping
Oh, dear.
18 feet. You know, like as you would expect it to do.
Do they not understand what perspective is? Are they retarded?
It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Bev, did you say he has 2 targets like in front of each other?
Apparently.
Okay, but he's got 2 targets, right? At least. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I remember an oil platform called Hill House was 6.21 miles. Another platform, Habitat, was 9.41 miles. And why doesn't he pay attention to those 2 targets with the horizon behind it?
Well, he said it was refracted.
But it won't be any refraction on the day he goes out to do his little test.
No. Unfortunately for them, it's standard. It's not going to be no Atmo day. Maybe that's something you can clarify with him next time you speak, Bev. That it's definitely not going to be no Atmo day when they do this.
Like I say, we are going there this Sunday, and on Discord, the Next Level Discord server, I will be live streaming a camera on the back of an auto level on that very bridge. Now, the auto level I've got's a 32 times scope, but Rumpus has said he's only got a 24 times scope. So you'll be able to see exactly. And then we can put, at the side of that, we're going to have 2 P1000s, a normal one and an infrared, to see what they can see over the 6 mile distance also.
Oh, I do remember seeing this because you quizzed them on it. You had George and Rumpus double teaming, correct? Was that you? Sure it was.
Well, Rumpus came in. I've tried to get as much conversation out of them as possible.
No, I do recall. You did get a fair bit out. So what you had was...
Yeah.
The reason it was 2 people was because Rumpus had to demand that you accepted his Muppet vision, assuming representation in side view. And then when it was anything that was discussing the optics of what they'd be doing real world, George discussed it. So George spent a significant amount of time discussing refraction. Can't remember
Yeah.
how many times he mentioned that their refraction's based on our. I don't think he ever did. He discussed actual refractive effects. Very flat earth of him. Meanwhile, when you were being demanded to accept how the Muppet Vision side-on view representation would be describing this optical detail that George was giving, Rumpus was in the fray. So they were bait and switching between Muppet Vision side-on and optical effects that George discussed. So Rumpus had the Muppet Vision and George had the optics.
Ad homs and insults as well. Yeah, plenty.
Oh, from both of them, of course.
Yeah. Well, I've got 4.5 hours basically. I tried to keep them both on track for this particular test that Rumpus is doing because I think it's fantastic. Like the Robotham and Wallace both look for the hump because the drop is ridiculous if you understand anything about levels and water levels. But yeah, I think this is one of the historic moments, one of the biggest faux pas, I'd say, that the Globe team could ever make is letting Rumpus redesign the Robotham. Robotham Wallace. I mean, it's a development of Wallace. I mean, I've already been there myself with my son, and we've done the Robotham, the 8 inches off the canal surface. We've got the footage for that. We've already done that.
Sure.
So seeing this one is brilliant. I'm loving it.
Okay. So the assertion made when it's being transposed into a so-called globe proof would be to correlate what they see in their optics with the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator in Muppet Vision. Now that transition will be used when they do their description. Now, I obviously want you to have every success in your demolishment of this, Bev, so can you do a full-on shout-out for your Discord server, your channel, encourage people to subscribe, all that good stuff?
Okay. Well, with the YouTube channels, try thinking. But that isn't where the magic happens. The magic happens within the Discord server. There's a team of very clever people that work. Well, we don't work. We just have fun, really. But there's some good minds in there. So the Discord server is Next Level Discord. I don't know. Maybe I'll to give you a link to the Discord server that you can put somewhere. But yeah, that's where we're going to be doing this stuff. We don't normally live stream it to YouTube.
Can someone drag in Craig from the live stream queue, please?
That's Crackvillain. He's on our main panel. Don't worry about him.
No, don't.
Yeah, just that's fine.
All right, sorry.
What this is, it's the same thing as what Einstein did. They claimed the globe, and then they went off and found the effects that supported the claim. Right? They didn't have a globe to start with, and this is all it is. This is more trying to find the effects that support the claim that we're on a globe. It's complete and utter rubbish. I brought out a video a couple of weeks ago. It's like 2 minutes long, showing exactly what Rumpus is going to see. I show it with optical drop. I show exactly what Rumpus is going to see over a flat surface. And Rumpus never came into the video. I know he knows about it. He never came near it. Because that's exactly, and I've told him this, it must be a year and a half ago. I told him that I'm going to show everyone exactly what you're going to be claiming to be your curve, which is just optical drop.
Yeah, this is so 2015. It's untrue.
Yeah, and what a lot of people don't realise, and I didn't know it until I heard Jaron talking about it a couple of years ago, was, and it cemented it for me because I was looking into the same thing, the optical drop thing, that what Robotham did is he showed how Wallace was claiming that this drop away from the crosshairs of the telescope of the markers he was claiming an error curve, right? And what Robotham did is he lined up the first two markers with the crosshairs, and he said he was going to. He said, if I line up the first two markers with the crosshairs, if the rest of the markers stay aligned or don't drop below it, then you know it's not error curve. If they do drop and curve down, then it is error curve. And he did that. and they all aligned up, which completely debunked Wallace. But you never hear about that. That's not on Wikipedia or anywhere else. You don't hear about that. All you hear about is these 8 inches above the water thing, and then Wallace coming along, who is the supposed expert surveyor who knows about refraction, and showed how it was only just refraction using 7/6R.
Right. But what's not highlighted is the transition from optical viewpoint, which is being attempted to be demonstrated on the flat Earth side, versus their necessity to make the claim in Muppet vision, in a perspective hijacking calculation. So just to make the claim in the first instance, it's like we don't get this point of view. As soon as the explanation comes for how it's dropping around a sphere, the explanation comes with a representation of the side of your own head, the target, and the hump between you. And that assertion comes without any use of perspective. So that's how they've done it. They've just taken perspective and called it Earth curve. Oh, right, it's dropping around Earth curve. No, it's not. It's getting smaller, dropping towards the horizon because it's got smaller. Therefore, it's lower and closer to the horizon further in the distance. That's not because it's dropping around Earth curve. Well, it is if I show you the side of your own head.
Yeah, they have to pretend that there is no such thing as angular size change.
Exactly.
That's what they have to do.
Precisely. Yeah, like I say, this is so 2015. But this is being done for the masses, I assume. Rumpus is now just appealing to anybody who comes as a cursory glance, so they can see the same old tired crap getting recycled again and again and again, so that they can make the same assertions about stuff that people might look up from the past. So, well, unfortunately, 2015 didn't just not happen. We have figured out that to make this claim, you need R, and you need to turn the world side on, quite literally.
Can I point out the fact that he's looking for drop? Now, that drop doesn't just happen one way.
No.
It's an infinite drop. If you go to the other end where it's just dropped 18 feet and look back again, there's meant to be another 18-foot drop again. So you could keep going along that canal from one end to the other, and you would drop 18 feet every time you go from one end to the other, which to me sounds ridiculous. I mean,
it is ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd. And the only way you can make the assertion is if you take an optical view and you reposition it into a perspective exclusive view that shows you the side of your own head. That's the only way they can make the claim. And as far as they're concerned, everything's always dropping away from every position always. And it kind of looks like that if you take a picture and then put it in Muppet vision.
Well, if the two markers are the same exact elevation above the water level of the canal, then looking from either direction, you're going to have the same view. Whatever effects you're viewing in one way, you're going to see him in the other way.
Right, but viewing is something that we can do and assert and do on a flat plane. Viewing, when they describe something that is inclusive of 7/6R, terrestrial refraction, bending sphere-shaped air, and a curved surface beneath your feet, that is the only assertion. I think that was Bev's point, actually. So they only have one claim, and it's based on R. So the drop that they're describing is just purely Earth curves. If you ever see the Tim Osman reference where he's saying, look at all these things flat earthers say account for stuff dropping towards the horizon with distance and being obscured from view with distance. Here's a whole list of things that could ascribe causal relationships to that. Aren't they silly? Here's our list. What's in our list? Earth curve. Oh, and also we can also bend the light at a rate of Earth curve. That is it. They've got one thing in their column. So when Bev says, well, all they've got is the drop, yeah, it's because that's the only claim. There is no capability of ascribing actual refraction. No, it's just 7/6R terrestrial refraction, sphere-shaped air-based refraction, always in effect. So they've only got one cause. So as soon as you say something like, number one, your description of this takes place in a perspective exclusive view, and number two, there's also this weather effect that is definitely nothing to do with your 7/6 of a radius. That's not being taken into account. And the thing's getting smaller into the distance. Here's the Rayleigh criterion. You can calculate where it will disappear from view completely with the diffraction limit calculable based on your aperture. Is that in effect in your maths? Oh, none of this is in effect. It's just one thing in the column. Earth curve. Well, your Earth curve, your drop, is based on a drop based on the physical obstruction at the horizon. And the horizon's not Earth curve. We've debunked it. So drop from what? drop from the obscurity of your view based on a geometric limitation. Black Swan, hello, we've debunked the horizon as Earth curve. So if you want to assert that you've got dropped, well, no, you'd need something for it to be dropping from, and that would be a geometric limitation you call the horizon, formerly known as Earth curve. And that is not a geometric limitation anymore. Rumpus damn well knows it. He's not allowed here anymore because he had to lie through his back teeth about it.
But Wallace went for the hump. Like, why did Wallace not notice the drop? Why?
Because the hump is Earth curve, right? It's the obstruction to your view. In the maths, bulge, hump, Earth curve, tangent point, horizon, they're all the same thing. They're all one thing, and it's Earth curve. So he's looking for the Earth curve.
It depends on where you want to put your tangent on the model. What I'm saying is, when Wallace did it, Wallace put the tangent in the middle. Like, why did Wallace not look for the drop of the water at the middle? Like, why did Wallace, when he was doing it and looking at his targets, why did he see a hump? Why did he not just see a quadratic drop, quadratic function of a drop?
Because
like, where did he get the hump from?
Well, because he got it inside. Well, I'll tell you, I'll answer. He got it mathematically inside profile in a perspective exclusive, begging the question, mathematics known as the Earth curve calculations that assumes R. So based on that assumption, he can draw his tangent point to a hump inside profile. And then where he draws his tangent is down to his position in height. It's 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, and that will draw out his tangent and derive where his bulge, hump, that's the horizon, that's Earth curve. Unfortunately, it's been debunked by the Black Swan. There is no Earth curve edge horizon anymore. That's what he's looking for. That's what the bulge or hump is.
Is there supposed to be observations, though? Look, I've got the actual observation, putting it in the main chat for you.
But
That's the observation.
What Wallace did is he removed the 7/6R for the hump. That's what he did.
Because there's no Atmo day.
Gives you, yeah, the 7/6R gives you optical drop, basically, right, over a distance because of angular size change and whatever else. But when you remove the 7/6R, which is what Nathan was saying when he went to the maths, then you have the hump.
Exactly. No Atmo day. Oh, right.
Yeah.
So the air wasn't sphere-shaped and you got to see the physical geometry. Oh, right. That would be a physical geometric sphere edge horizon. We've debunked it.
It's the same, like, it's just the starting with a cause, right? They start with the cause. The cause is Earth as a sphere, you know, and the effects is optical effects, you know, that supposedly prove this sphere. But they still need refraction that's based on their cause of a sphere that will allow the explanation that will allow us to still be able to see things in the horizontal distance. And that's only because of refraction. But they start with the cause. The cause is like, it's a globe. And so everything we see optically that we can match to that cause, we'll call them effects of the globe. It's like, how many times have we heard over the years, I can't show you curvature, but I can show you the effects of curvature. How many times have we heard that?
Right. And when it's detailed and described, you have this view on screen right now. So when it was being argued about in court, what the judge is being presented is, look, judge, when I look at these two markers into the distance, something's blocking my view and they're dropping beyond it. Look, here's my tangent line from my eyes, and that tangent line's running to the physical geometric horizon that's going to block my view. That's the assertion. Now, the hope is that you won't notice the fact that you are now looking at the side of your own head, something that you cannot do. You side on to a sphere Earth where you're seeing the entirety of the sphere Earth you're assuming, with no perspective taken into account. It can't be. You're looking at you and the target simultaneously. Is this target smaller than this target? No, not in this view. Now, from the perspective of this person, number one, you wouldn't see your own head. Number two, this would be smaller. At this scale, you're talking about, what, 800, 900 watt plus miles further away than this item, it's definitely going to be smaller, but that's not represented in globe maths. See the side of your own head. Perspective is therefore removed. Therefore, when this thing's got too small to see, Earth curves got in the way. And it's the only reason for it, in this perspective, that you never get. Muppet vision. That's what we mean when we say Muppet vision. AKA an orthographic representation where you see yourself in the view and therefore perspective is removed. And then the effects of perspective can be relabeled as this: the geometric horizon, otherwise known as Earth curve. The point of tangency that blocks your view to the things in the distance that have actually just got too small.
Well, all the supposed effects of curvature are all just optical effects. So they just hijacked all the optical effects they could find and claimed
So, Nathan.
that proved.
Sorry.
Go on,
Indeed.
Tom.
So, how you doing, Nathan? You right, mate?
I could have you. You know it. Is that all you've come for? Because fuck you.
No,
you
I
know
haven't come
you'd
for
be
a war.
going down. I'd go for that injury.
I don't want no problems.
There wouldn't be any, mate. It'd be over in 3 minutes.
Would you get in the ring, would you?
What the fuck? I'd be dead in about 2 minutes if I was actually in the ring with you. I know it.
He's a good
That's
boxer.
why I'm
He's
not-
not
that's
a bad
why
boxer.
I wouldn't get in a debate with you either. Like that's why I surrender. Surrender in a debate.
I just-
Thank you for opening my eyes. But what's an easy way to explain the problem with this? Because I know you guys use all the complicated terminologies. I know it's complicated to me and it's complicated to a lot of people because there's a lot of different things you have to go into very depth understanding to communicate on that level. So how could I do this in like layman's terms? Explain. To
Okay, I
people?
can give you one sentence. The horizon is an Earth curve.
It's just a. So what would that now go? What is
Okay,
it then?
you ever
Yeah,
used a big
yeah.
massive exercise ball?
Yep, I have. Yeah.
Imagine holding that exercise ball up so that it obscures things that are behind it. So you've got it up to your eye level, you're holding it in front of you. Now the top edge of that massive exercise ball blocks stuff behind it, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a physical, geometric limitation to your view. Something's physically blocking your view, that beach ball or exercise ball. That's claimed to be what makes your horizon in the distance when you're out at the beach. Same thing is claimed to be what the sphere edge is represented as when you see a horizon. Well, the horizon, Tommy, is not the same as the beach ball edge. It's not a geometric limitation to your view, and it's claimed to be. The picture on screen is the black swan, and it shows that the horizon, which was in your view when you had the ball, something that blocked stuff behind it. Well, in this view, if you imagine our Earth horizon is the same thing, suddenly it's beyond where it would have been blocking stuff. Akin to, imagine you're in your gym, you're holding up your ball, and you've got some dumbbells just out of view because you've lifted up the ball. Now imagine that for some reason, you look at the ball, and the ball is now behind the dumbbell. You're still holding it, but it's behind the dumbbell in your view. It makes no sense. It can't happen because you're holding the ball in front of it. So geometrically, it can't be behind it.
And they're saying that's due to atmospheric conditions, basically the heat.
Yeah. I didn't think you'd make that connection so quickly, so I'll keep the live show open to make this explanation. Further explanation. They say it's refracted, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that means that geometrically, they don't have a straight line to it. To be refracted means to have deviated from straight. Well, their maths is based in geometry and requires straight lines to assert that geometry. I know that's complicated, Tommy. I might get more into it in the after show.
I've heard this argument before, and I've said it to people, and I've said, because in your maths, usually you're drawing straight lines, and now do we know that light isn't going straight because it's bending due to the atmospheric conditions? So why isn't it represented in the maths? I've heard this argument.
It can't
I've
be.
heard you say this.
It can't be.
Yeah, that's right.
That line that's now bent in their maths is called a tangent line. So earlier, when I had it up on screen, I drew my mouse along a straight line to the physical Earth curve edge inside profile. That line's called a tangent. It's a necessity to make the Earth curve assertion. That tangent is a requirement. The moment they bent it, this is something I didn't get initially, Tommy, so don't feel embarrassed. I had to go to QE and say they keep saying refraction. And then he said this to me. The moment they say refraction, it's the end of their claim. It's a geometric claim. Now, further to that geometric claim that's ruined when they bend the line to the horizon, we also have a tool that utilises the horizon, and it's got a straight line to it also. It's called the sextant.
And that's what he was asking me about sextant the other day.
Yeah, it's got a straight line to the horizon, and your assumption is that every single position below every star above the land has got a straight, flat line to it in order to navigate the land, and it works perfectly. So your assumption is flat line to position below star that's 1,000 miles away from you. And everything around in a circle between that star and your position around the base of the star is all flat.
What's the best explanation given for having a straight line in your maths given by Rumpus? What's his best answer?
I've had the answer. I've had the answer. I've got a quote for you. The geometric horizon only exists in the maths. That's his answer. End quote. The Rumpus.
Okay then.
In other words, what is the geometric horizon, Tommy? It's Earth curve. So to rephrase or paraphrase what he's saying, Earth curve only exists in the maths. And with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. I'm sure there was actually somebody that smashed the super chat just before I started doing this outro, so let's just scroll back at my chat. Unitox Femu, massive shout out to you, my friend. Thank you very much indeed for smashing the super chat. Stay tuned if you're watching on either Premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!
Game over, man. Game over.
It's definitely game over.
That was what was on Unitox Femu shout out. Game over. He's not wrong.
Good show, Nathan.
Good.
That was a good show. I enjoyed it.
Does anyone know if Rumpus is going to... Sorry, just 1 second. Just one question. Bev or maybe SE or someone could answer. Is Rumpus going to have any flat earth people there at his demonstration?
It was meant to be this weekend.
That's not what he asked.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he asked Brian Mabbott to go up there and do a drone footage for him.
You know, I was wondering, could you see around the corners if you put like a heater on the corner?
You're just figuring out that refractions... Hold on, let me just lay this out for Tommy. Right, Tommy, if you're on a globe, which I know you're not, nothing, and I do mean nothing, is where it's supposed to be. Everything is subject to atmospheric refraction in sphere-shaped air. That's atmo, that means air. Sphere, that means sphere. So air sphere. So therefore, light is always bending at a standard rate through the sphere-shaped air. Therefore, whenever you look out the window at anything ever, it's not where it really is. I'll let you digest that as a previously believing in the globe person.
This is what, remember that analogy, that story I gave before, when I said, like, if you took someone on a plane and flew him over, and then you got to the other side of the flight and you went, you know, you just went over a large curve there. And they go, really? Did you see? They go, now look at this board. You draw something on the board. You go, see? And they go, oh, yeah. And then what happens? You go back home later and they capture you in bed with their wife and they go, oh, they're walking. They go, what you doing? You go, no. I'm not in the bed with your wife. Just look at this board here. See, it's not what you see.
Statistically, you weren't going to come home at this particular time. Let me show you statistically why this shouldn't happen and you can just forget about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, statistically.
Oh man, it is just so mad, isn't it?
Yeah, but sir, usually you come home at this time, and I can prove this to you. So, Please do ignore.
Wasn't it Kissinger that was claimed to be a bit like that?
Who kissed her?
Kissinger. Henry Kissinger.
That was a pun for 10th.
You're right, Rack Villain.
Tom-
I'm glad.
Tommy,
All
do you
good,
know
buddy,
that
all good.
somebody said, someone on our opposition side said that when you hold your hand up in front of your face, that it's not really there. Do that, right? So how would that work in the boxing ring? Every punch is
It really doesn't.
Well, that's the
I'm a world
rhetoric.
champion.
That's somebody adhering to the actual rhetoric.
Yeah, it is. That's like, what I don't, a lot of people haven't really been taught these things in depth, and it's easier for them to just like reject the people who argue against it. You know what I mean? So it's not easy to do that than it is to actually learn the stuff and realize that you're being lied to and
Yeah.
unlearn it. That seems to be the harder task.
Well, yeah, that's why we call them anti-flat earthers. It's easier to brace against us as a community as they see us bundled all together with stereotyping fallacies, and then just brace against us rather than, like you say, learning this stuff and realizing the awful truth if that's how they perceive it.
So, in a boxing analogy, this would be switching from southpaw to orthodox or the other way around.
I like switching sports. I love boxing too much. I'd never leave it. I love my boxing too much. I wouldn't want to do fucking MMA. But
I love my boxing too much as well, dude. I do dabble in both, but
I couldn't do with the training. Like lying on the floor and letting a man wrap his legs around you and then doing
Right, I
drills.
know.
I just couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it.
I'm
I was
only
like,
used to
when
it,
I started doing that, I was like, I've got to go.
I'm
gotta
only used
leave,
to
I've
it,
got
dude,
places to
because
go.
I grew up in that, doing that, I grew up basically doing BJJ and then judo, right? So I got used to men having their, their pieces in my face, as it were.
Oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't do it,
Oh,
man.
yeah, I did a few years as well.
You got used to it, and then you started
I
to
got
like
very
it.
used to it.
Grown men,
Yeah,
with grown men's groins grinding on each other. I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't.
Yeah, that's not. I did it for years too, and that's one of the things that isn't nice. I have to say that wasn't the nice part of it.
You've got to be
There's a lot of
comfortable with your
smells going on.
sexuality. You've got to be comfortable with your sexuality, guys.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like you don't even think about it. The only thing is the smell. That's the only thing. Certain smells from the
They're
lab.
earning millions. Some of them are earning really good money, and it's a really good sport. And hats off to them. It's just for me. My personal space was just too much. It was too much to give away. I thought, you know what, boxing's a bit better anyway. You get paid more. It looks better. It's more enjoyable. You know what I mean? And it's a bit like less brutal. If you get knocked down, you get a chance to get back up and
This is
get
the
back
thing.
into it. Because everyone can make a mistake.
Well, this is the thing. The head injury sustained via the elbow to the temple versus the head injury from, an 8 or 12 ounce glove is massive in comparison. So you're really risking your health when you go into the ring of into the octagon. Effectively, you really, really are risking your health.
don't know
You're
if that's-
risking all of your joints.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think
it's
that's
more
true anymore.
boxing
I
is
think
actually-
if you go back to the early first, maybe second rounds when it was first getting popular, I'm pretty sure they told the refs to let them beat the living shit out of them when they were on the floor because it got really, really bloody. Whereas if you look at it now, it's totally different. The refs are on it. They're really, really good. But it just wasn't like that in the early days. So people tend to hang on to that idea of you jump in and then you're going to get, all your teeth knocked out and you're not going to have the ref stop it when you're having your head smashed in. But that's how it was. Unfortunately, that is how it was initially.
That's how it was. It was how it
Well, let me say
was. But
something.
I'm talking
Let me-
about how it is now and still
Okay.
is to this day. So when effectively if you get put into an armbar, right? Even when the ref gets in there very quickly, the issue is that the ligaments in your elbow, and even in your shoulder, right, they're effectively a stretching, and then there are muscle imbalances for the rest of your life, and we're still dealing with this now.
Sure.
As someone involved in it, there are many injuries that are sustained that just
they're-
simply don't.
But they're
occur.
trying to hurt
Talking
each
of
other.
fist up. Hold
They
on.
are actually trying to hurt each other. So yeah, but by the same token, I watched one match. I couldn't tell you who was fighting, but the ref's watching so closely, guy's in an armbar, and the guy's arm broke, and he instantly spotted it, stopped the match. Everyone's kicking off because the guy hasn't tapped out, and it's like, no, he's broken his arm.
Yeah, he's broken his arm. No, stop it.
Right, but everyone's kicking off and telling the ref what a terrible job he's done. But meanwhile, no, the ref spotted it and stopped it instantly. Now, nobody else spotted it, and as a result, the guy could probably carry on and fight again.
Referees can never do a good job. It's rather they're too early or too late. They've never made the right choice.
When it's boxing,
I've got a lot of. You say that, I think the MMA refs come under such a high degree of scrutiny that they are shit hot. That is one thing I will definitely say. I mean, I'm not saying boxing refs aren't.
Boxing refs are just corrupt, man. They're just corrupt. The boxing refs are.
Is that so?
You know what I mean?
Tommy, tell me if this is true, Tommy, because this is what the boxers said. Because they wear 8-ounce and 12-ounce gloves, they're taking more of a beating for longer of a time. Because they don't have those gloves in MMA, they're getting knocked out quicker. So they're saying it's more dangerous.
Less punishment. Yeah, it is.
Let me get this right, Neil. Hold on. Let me just get it right. Hold on. Just, hello. Just for Neil's logic, right? Being knocked out is effectively when the two halves of your brain are stretched apart so much that you basically suffer a mild concussion, right? Now, you're saying because that mild concussion comes quicker with lighter gloves, that's better. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
No, it is a bit, Nathan. It's like the best analogy I can give you, right?
Hold on, just want to. I want to. Hello, one person that actually knows. Go ahead, Tommy.
I do both things.
I just want to hear Tommy though, please.
Right, thanks a lot, mate. The best analogy I can give you is like NFL versus rugby. Now, rugby's more physical and it's less padding and it's more brutal, like UFC. But NFL, you got padding on, but because you got padding on, you go at people at full velocity. So you get more serious injuries in NFL, but you get more mild injuries in rugby. So you get more mild injuries in UFC, such as breaks and knockouts and stuff. But you get more serious injuries in boxing because it's more padded and people go more full force and they're more potent.
Correct.
And I see. I just want to make a. Hold on, just Brian, 1 sec. So, in other words, because you're not going to hurt your knuckles, you're more likely to put more force in, therefore more force is being delivered. Correct?
There's more to it than that.
High impact.
Okay. Go ahead. Hold on. Hello. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I did some amateur boxing years ago. I was just training and sparring, and I trained with my cousin who was a boxer for years and years, and a Muay Thai fighter. But I did MMA then as well. And when you spar in boxing, after sparring, you can't think straight. Now, that's after every time you spar. Your brain is kind of buzzing because you're getting hit so much. In boxing, you have one thing, and that is hands, right? You have one thing to attack with, and you have one thing to avoid. That is hands. But because they work on hands all the time, they're and angles, it's like you're constantly someone trying to hold the center of the ring, get you into the corner, and give you as many bangs as possible. So when you spar MMA, right, you're getting kicks in the legs, you do get elbows and stuff, and you do get hit, right, with the smaller gloves. And when you get hit, you definitely notice it. It's worse than the bigger gloves. But you can tangle the person up, you can hold the person, excuse me, you can keep the person up against the cage or them against you. So there's a lot of what they call dirty boxing goes on. And then when you're on the ground, like what they call ground and pound, yeah, you get hit a lot, but you can't put the same force into the punches you're giving to someone on the ground that you could put into, like, let's say Tommy could put into a punch in the ring, because he can move his whole body and pivot on his toe and land a hook, right? Whereas on the ground, you can only use your weight, but you can't turn your whole body and your weight with it. So it's different. You're getting a lot of punches on the ground, and it might look brutal, and you get cut a lot because there's smaller gloves. You get cut a lot, like let's just say in training. But you're not after MMA sparring. Your body will be messed up. You'll feel like you got a very hard time, but it's different from the boxing. After boxing sparring, you come out, and for me anyway, it was like in my head because you get hit in the head so much.
But I mean, I see. Obviously, they're both sports, but by the same token, there's a certain mystique around boxing. There's a certain elegance around boxing, like it's a bit more structured. Whereas MMA to me is like, when I watch it, I think, yes, obviously there's rules, but it looks much more like what I what I expect a real fight to be like. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, yeah. It's
course.
definitely a better
100%.
sport. It's like football versus. Oh, it's like football versus rugby, you know, because rugby you use more your limbs, and like you were saying, your injuries are more spread out because the damage that's been put on you is throughout your body, so it's more displaced. It's not more concentrated. Whereas boxing is just your head and body. Whereas MMA you can kind of like spread it across your body. What was the point you made again, Nathan? I forgot. What
But
was
that
you
it's
trying
more
to
realistic.
say?
That if I've
Oh yeah.
if
Yeah,
I've
it's
ever
more
been in a
realistic
fight,
and,
it's never been like a boxing match, and it's definitely been more like an MMA scrap. That's just how, if you end up in a tussle with somebody, that's how I imagine it ends up. And if it gets more serious, that's what it would escalate to. Now, don't get me wrong, I've never
It's
been in a
definitely
fight like that, but
no,
I'm
it's
just saying,
definitely 90% of fights end up on the floor. Even street fights, you end up in a
exactly,
wrestling scenario.
exactly.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that, and I tell you why. Because most fights I've seen, real fights, real life fights, and any ones I had, most of them, if someone going down, it's because they're after getting hit, and there's always drink involved, and they're more or less going down, and they're more or less going unconscious as they're going down. I would say there's claims that came from the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community that 85 or 90% of fights end up on the ground. I haven't seen that myself in real life. In
I
real
have to
life,
agree with Brian.
I mean,
I have to agree
you
with
don't
Brian.
want to be down there. You don't want to be down
I
there in
think
real life.
if you're
Yeah.
fighting with somebody and you throw a few shots, and then you're inside, unless one person's creating distance and trying to keep it into a striking match. If two people are trying to keep it a striking match, then yeah. But if two people that are fighting naturally, right? No rules. You just see them and you're fighting. You're going to end up, biting them and eye gouging, and you're going to be in like a wrestling scenario. You are, because you throw a couple of shots. If that person doesn't go down or you don't get the clean shot on them, you're in a proximity of like hugging, and even boxing matches end up hugging. Unless you've got people that have that are trying to create distance, you're going to get, which ain't going to happen. You're going to get two people that know how to fight actually fighting each other for no reason. Most fights are someone trying to bully someone, or somebody trying to defend themselves, and one person attacks them. Or most of my fights end up with people just unconscious. Yeah, I don't end up getting into the wrestling scenario, but I have had a lot of fights where you end up having to just throw them. You know what I mean?
Can I
You
have
do
two
end up
words
in
on this quickly? 2 words on this. I want to agree with Brian's logic on that. The line given out by BJJ, and this is a line that would be given out by my own family, so I'm going against what my family say here. 90% of the fights end up on the floor. No, usually fights are bully boy tactic versus so-and-so, so-and-so. So it's always usually a knockout. And I want to speak to Neil's point on what he's heard from boxers, which is the more concussive nature of boxing, which is this. It's more the continual concussive blows to the head. And overall, what Brian talked about of the what you would call the starry-eyed sort of, stars in your head after the sparring session, right? So it's the continual concussive blows over time that causes the head injury. What Nathan spoke on, where there's a clean knockout, which is where the brain effectively, in a matter of under a millisecond, bounces off of one portion of the head in a diagonal fashion to the other portion of the head. This is why if you tap someone in the corner of their jaw and you tap someone on the corner of the back of their head on the opposite side, very quickly, with not very much force at all, you will drop them in an instant. This is a technique we use in security all the time. If someone's there, we have their hands up, we're trying to explain to them, and we realize that they effectively, this isn't to be used in England, obviously, but if I was in Europe, for instance, and I had a drunkard in my face and I could tell that he was going to effectively throw blows, or he's going to go too far, then sometimes that tactic would be used to effectively induce a knockout, and one that would be of a lesser variety, meaning I can control the amount of force I would exert upon one corner of his head as opposed to the corner of his jaw very quickly. But what Neil was talking about was the accumulative concussive blows to the head versus in MMA where we have the clean knockout. The clean knockout causes sometimes effectively worse forms of concussion. But it's the over time not realizing that you have concussion from the smaller concussions that didn't knock you out. Every time you're hit in the head, there is a form of concussion caused. It's that simple. Whenever you feel brain shake, there's a form of swelling.
I don't disagree with that at all. I think boxing is more. You get more serious conditions because of the accumulation. That's why you get more serious. Like with NFL, you get more serious injuries with that. But it's not just because of the high impact. It's also they can. I didn't clarify that, but that is also a contributing factor. It's like being hit with a balloon. Hit with a balloon once doesn't hurt, but if someone hits you with a balloon 100 billion times, I'm pretty sure you're going to have more than a headache. And I guarantee, even a balloon doesn't hurt, but the cumulative does add up. But if he has headaches after sparring, I couldn't help but think he obviously can't box.
Yeah, I would say the same as well. He doesn't really defend himself.
Let's not dig. No.
Well, no,
Hold on.
No,
The other thing I was going to say.
I was.
Hold on, Brian.
What
Just
I
one
mean?
sec. I was going to say the other thing you see in MMA is something that you don't often see in boxing, which is people out on their feet. In other words, if you see someone catch someone right on the jaw, like you say, with a heel, like they've done they pulled off a mad spin kick, caught them in the jaw, totally unawares, and they can be out on their feet. In other words, they're unconscious, they're knocked out, they're concussed, right? They're no longer capable of any sort of motor skills. They're fucked, right? And they're literally just, by pure luck, just balancing on the back of their heels because their body's locked in that position, right? And then they go down, right? Now, I've seen that so many times in MMA.
And then they get hammer-fisted.
Well, sometimes, yeah, but
After the
often,
fact.
again, it's down to the refs. Because normally when you see that, you think, holy shit,
That's
if
why
that
they bring
person gets another blow, that could leave them with some permanent damage. But normally the ref recognises it. But then you get to see the person out on their feet for a few more seconds. So you're like, oh my God, that person's
Let me
literally out
contrast
cold
that.
on their feet.
Yeah.
Let me contrast that with an example with like someone, for instance, like Nigel Benn, right? For instance, Nigel Benn, no one noticed the sort of accumulative concussive blows that were affecting his brain, and he continued to box. And in doing so, effectively, what ended up happening? We ended up with a man that was effectively a vegetable that in his last fight was actually still able to stand up on his feet and do so, and he was punch drunk. I have many friends. My best friend is a title holder. He holds over 7 belts in Muay Thai. He went over to Thailand for 7 years to do so, right? And he won a title every year that he was there, right? But the point is he himself, just from the Muay Thai, he was rarely knocked out. He was rarely fully put unconscious. I think this happened to him one time, right? And it was at the very beginning. But the accumulative concussive blows to the head, and I noticed this in him, is that he did become punch drunk over time, forgetful of things, and all this sort of stuff. And that's sort of, I think that would be the point that Neil was talking to. But neither of everything that we've sort of said is relatively true, where Nathan talks about the extreme nature of an injury. If someone is knocked out by a spinning back heel to the temple, and then someone rushes over and manages to get a hammer blow in while their brain is effectively swelling in order to protect themselves,
Right.
Yeah, so both points stand.
Well, the other thing you see, I've seen it.
I like to make
just one more thing, and then I'll let you go, Tenth. Sorry. The other thing I've seen is, and it's a testament to their training. Again, when they're out cold, in other words, they're obviously unconscious. They're on the ground. They're being counted out, or whatever, or it's game over, depending on the sport. But they're still going through the motions. They're blocking and basically doing the motions while they're unconscious. In other words, they're so thoroughly drilled that they're still protecting their face. They're still putting out a few jabs when they're unconscious. Just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Body's
they
still
do that.
trying to
They will
respond.
do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, Tommy, your reference to the balloons, that was highly inflated.
Yeah, the punch you got. You did a pun the other day on the yesterday's show, and I can't remember what it was, but you have got a bag of them. You really have.
You haven't sparked any fundy debate, though. I would have expected after 20 minutes talking about boxing, it's like talking about movies for 20 minutes. Normally a fundy or pipe up. But clearly not today.
Yeah.
Not
They've all
today,
given up.
no,
I mean,
not
I was
today.
having a nice chat with some of the Globers yesterday, and
I gotta get.
I think it got to a point where they were saying, they all deny space. I think he was saying, and I said, well, none of us can really clarify. It's not we deny it. It's just that we, and we do think that obviously that we have no demonstration. Gas rush press. So we're not saying that that space sucks. So why is the gas still here if it's all with the pressures here, and it literally acts as if. It acts and behaves as if we are in a closed container. They even said to me, "Whoa, look at the car. When you drive in a car, the windows open." I goes, "A car represents a container." Like they don't even get it. Like even with their examples, you literally are. So even like, we can hold water in the bottom of a bucket and swing it around with centrifugal forces by swinging the bucket round. Well, that's a bucket. It's a container. Show me how this can be done with just the force of gravity. How can you demonstrate gravity pulling down gas molecules? You can't do it because even Kat said, I need a container the size of the atmosphere to show you gas molecules being affected by the gravitational force of the Earth.
Wait,
Because obviously you
wait,
can't
stop.
demonstrate it any other way.
So when he says that, he's begging the question. So it's back to sphere-shaped air. So it's like, I need a container the size of the sphere-shaped air that's arbitrarily not dispersing into a vacuum. So they've got a whole law about their sphere-shaped air. And it's just a begging the question fallacy. Air isn't sphere-shaped. It takes the shape of its container. But they just beg the question of sphere-shaped air, and that's all sorted, right? Well, obviously, we've got air in a sphere shape not escaping into the vacuum. Well, no, we haven't. That's what debunks it. But people like Katz will then describe a delta of the gas pressure that's already in existence in their example. Heard him doing it the other day with Spurs chemo. Well, why has the guy in the field, just a random field, got gas pressing on him? There's no container around him. You're like, no. In order for that to be the case, then the sky can't be a vacuum because he wouldn't have the gas pressing on him. Therefore, we must have containment for there to be any pressure on anything ever. If the sky was a vacuum, it would have all gone. But they will immediately appeal to examples that already have existing gas pressure, not addressing the fact that we wouldn't have it if the sky was a vacuum.
In the end of the day, the globers are trying to get you to believe something you don't see and experience. You do not see experience curvature. You don't see or experience rotation of the Earth. You don't see or experience this gas stuff either happening. So it's okay to say, you know what? It's the only logical assumption to assume is what we can demonstrate, and that is only gas being contained to create pressure. We could do, because otherwise we cannot demonstrate that alternatively. So that becomes a belief. So you have to have more faith to believe in the globe in every aspect. In my opinion.
Well, it's a religion.
Fucking sad, man. It really is. And I couldn't, if it's round, it's round. If it's not, it's not. Like, I feel like that's how everyone should be attacking this argument and not just being anti-flat earther, which is what you get a lot of now. The only people that seem to be around who want to call you an idiot and say you're stupid and you're crazy and all the usual bullshit. And they know full well you're not. You've got good valid points, and I do think I also do give a bit of credit to some of the Grovers. I mean, they have got some this, that, and the other, and I think that if you do believe that the gravity is there, and you do believe that thinkings are, I know, yeah, but it makes sense to them, and I can see why it makes sense because it used to make sense to me. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like even though they may have, you've just got to give both sides a bit of more leeway than probably they each other deserve. You get what I mean? Just to have the debate rather than just like when you was on about the sexton the other day, like. Or explain how you're a straight line. Was it to Mr. Bob? Was it I was listening to, and he was going, "Explain what a sexton is. Explain or something how a sexton works." And he wouldn't do it. And he was like, "Oh, I'll come back to it. I'll come back another day. Oh, why should I speak to you?" And he'd rather make a problem between you, like you be hostile. When this isn't a place to be hostile. It's a place to have a discussion about what's right and what's wrong.
Hey, Tommy, can I comment on what you just?
Yeah, but he
Absolutely,
can't.
yeah. No.
Go on, 10th.
Tommy, your perspective that you just said, I think is just what a lot of people feel. But look at it from a broader view. It's not so much that they are arguing from that point of view and they have good arguments. They're really, all the arguments they have has a beginning stage of, this is what I've been taught. I can't believe it can be a lie. I'm going to go back to what they told me in grade school and bring up some of the things they taught me. And that should prove that all the flat earthers are wrong because it can't be wrong what I was taught. That's really where they're stemming from, all their arguments, rather than what you said. Hey, if it's round, it's round. If it's flat, it's flat. Why aren't you interested in the truth? The truth isn't two-sided. I mean, you can't say this is true and the opposite of that be true at the same time.
I hear
so
that. That's true.
So you're more of a kind of person that if you held a false belief and you were shown evidence it was false, you would change, which is exactly what you did. But these people, these same people are fighting another fight. And that fight is, I can't believe that I've been lied to, or what are the consequences if I'm wrong? That's the inner fight that we never really talked to him about.
That's what probably should target then, really. Whether whether why do they hold so much loyalty to something that possibly is false? Well, not even possibly. In the minds of us, that it's definitely something up, and that's exactly why I was quite happy to concede and to realize that I'm going like I've been arguing against this for 5 years. I thought these guys cannot really believe this. That's kind of how I feel like a lot of Globers are. They automatically feel like you think the Earth's flat. There's no way these people could be sane, or there's got to be something wrong, or they've got to it's got to be something with the person. Do you know what I mean? And that's all they're stuck on. The person. Oh, Nathan Oakley is smarter than Einstein, or oh, these people. It's like it's not just forget about the person that's giving you the information. Just look at the information. Do you get what I mean? It's
Tommy,
not about the
Well,
person. What?
hey,
That's
let
the
me
field
follow
to
up.
academia.
Tommy, have you ever met a person or are the person that switched political parties?
I've ever met the person. No, they don't, do they? They hold it to their graves. They're stubborn. That's what people
No,
are
no.
like. They're stubborn.
I mean, people have changed political parties, though, right?
Not in my opinion, but I haven't seen it because I don't really pay attention to a lot of the political stuff.
Okay,
That's probably
okay.
why.
Let me get to
So
it.
stop, 10th. On the assumption that people have and do change political parties. Go ahead, 10th.
Yes. So, for example, I'll just be more clear. So, if you were a Democrat and now you're an independent, why'd you change? Well, what I thought Democrats stood for is no longer what matches what I stand for. So, I no longer identify as a Democrat because it's not anything I agree with. All right. People change all the time when the rules change or they find out what they had a faith in or belief in, it wasn't what it was meant to be or as advertised.
That's
Okay.
right.
People do this all the time.
Indeed, exactly.
So,
I often seek sanctuary in the fact that I'm a black Jewish Muslim woman, and that does help.
yes, I'm sure it does. So the point is when the subject of flat earth comes up, instead of arguing and making fun of a person, the person should say, why do you say that? What evidence do you have? Because for as long as I've been alive, pretty much everyone thinks we live on a ball. Why are you saying that? Then I would respond, this isn't a perfect world now. I would respond, okay, I have no problem with that. But if I give you evidence that you consider solid, will you switch now? Can I get a commitment out of you that if you find out you've been lied to about the nature of the earth you live on, would you switch? And that's the way you test it.
Always be closing.
Can I say something on it?
Yeah, go ahead.
The problem isn't that what they believed is wrong. That's not the problem. The problem isn't that they might need to change their perspective on stuff and realize that things like gravity is not there and it's not doing what they thought it was doing. The problem is they were told their whole life that flat earth is stupid and flat earthers are the stupidest people in the world. And the media has told us the world for decades and decades, right? The problem is the alternative is flat earth and flat earthers being right. And that's the problem. If there was a different alternative from flat earthers and flat earth, they wouldn't have the problem with the switch. But there isn't. There is only one alternative.
It's social rejection as well. They've got the financial situation. Their jobs are on the line. They've got their reputation. Their relationships that they've built with people. The egg on their face. If anything, they're all holding each other hostage to it. To that opinion.
Yeah,
If you know what I mean.
in a
Like,
bucket.
if one of them,
Crabs in a bucket. Correct.
But I do think that the biggest thing is the fact that the alternative is that the people they were told were the stupidest people in the world are turning out to be the very people that are showing them that what they believed and have believed is wrong. And the alternative
I think
is the very
Akuma
thing they were
virus
told
is one. Sorry. I
Well,
was going to say, because I
just
think
finish
people
off,
like
just-
Akuma virus know that you're right and know that you've got a point, but still argue it to their blue in the face and don't have a good rebuttal to what they're trying. They don't even understand what they're talking about most of the time, and they seem to be cognitive, intelligent people. And the points are being repeated constantly, and I don't blame people for Nathan for shouting at some of these guys because it's like I'm just answer the question. Like, answer the question, and I feel the same way. It gets me angry. The question is on the table. Just answer that. When I was arguing against it, you're in that moment when you just think, oh, what's this person talking about that for? But while you're thinking that, you're not thinking about the answer, and then you end up going away, thinking, oh, the person spoke to me in a rough way. But why are they speaking like that? Because you're being ignorant. Because you're not listening. Because you're not taking your turn. You're not taking in the information that someone's saying, and you're not replying accurately. And I'm trying to remember why I kept doing that. Even when I look back at the video when I was doing it, I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why couldn't I just listen?
Brainwashing. You don't know that you're being brainwashed. You don't know you're part of a cult. You don't know that you're adhering to the one world religion when you're a baller. You have no idea of any of those things. You just know it's the way it is. Likewise, anybody in a cult knows that that's the way it is. And why would you be telling them otherwise, you evil man? Get lost.
Yeah.
Well, to give a good example, a few nights ago I was speaking with some of the ballers on the after show of Brandon's when the show ended, and relative density in that came up, and they were stating it's not real and it doesn't work, and I said no, I said it does. And one of them asked me, we're talking about weight and mass and things as well, and one of them asked me about says does density cause weight? I said yeah, density of matter will give something weight, as in something can't have weight if it's not made of matter. The density of the matter will within the density of the matter within the volume will determine its weight depending on the medium. Like obviously different mediums give different weights. Air and water will be a different weight. But
Sorry, stop you. I've got to leave. I'm literally late. I've got somewhere to be. But thanks very much for having us, and I'll be on again for some more sanity talk. It's good. But yeah, just wanted to say goodbye to everyone. Thanks for having us. All right, I'll be back tomorrow or whatever.
All right, Tommy. Talk to you later.
Right now. Yeah,
Tommy,
appreciate
maybe
everything.
that day you would just maybe that day you did too
mistraining.
much sparring.
That's what I need to do now. I need to go and get my head punched in. All right, I'll see you later,
Maybe
guys.
that's what happened that day. You argue with Nathan. Maybe you had too much sparring that day.
That's the fight I don't want, man. Not in no debate room. No way. Right, catch you later, guys.
See you, Tommy. But yeah, what happened was they were more interested. The one person that asked me about does density have a cause weight or something like that, it was focusing on the word density. And he said, so if I compress something, I make it more dense. I said, yeah. So if I take something and compress it and I make it more dense, will that mean it'll have more weight? I said, well, no, I said, because there's no added matter to it. I said, I said, if you keep a volume equal and you add density to it, you will increase the weight, depending on, obviously weight is within the medium, but just as a basic, you will increase the weight. If you remove density, you will decrease the weight. If you're talking about a solid, like we're talking more in solids. And they were like, yeah, but that debunks relative density. I said, no. But I said weight is within like the medium. Like if you put a scales at the bottom of a pool, you stand on it, you weigh less than you do when you're standing on the scales at the side of the pool when you're not in the water, because there's two different mediums. But they were too, I think it was B-ball or someone like that. It was too focused on the density and weighting, and they were trying to get a gotcha. And it just wasn't working. It got to the point where one or the other, as actually Boyoju stepped in, and he started getting involved in the conversation because he could see that it was kind of like they were focusing on a gotcha that wasn't going to work, because like they thought that we think that like density means weight. So when you compress something because it's more dense, it should have more weight. It's like no, nobody thinks that. So they don't even listen to our. Go on, yeah.
Let me ask you a question. If you say I got a cup of water, 3/4 of the way full, and then I fill it up with ice to the rim, when that ice melts, will it overflow?
When the ice melts, will it over? Well, no, because the ice is expanded ice is expanded. So when it melts, if with the ice the water hasn't flown over the top, then when the ice melts, it won't be.
That's like asking the same thing. If you compress something more, will it be heavier? That's stupid.
I know, but they thought that they were thinking that because I was trying to explain how density it has a relationship to weight, but I was also trying to explain weight, trying to get into the conversation about weight and about mass. So there were 3 or 4 different things going on, but 1 or 2 of them focused on the whole density thing, and they couldn't grasp it. Eventually, Biojoule, I think it was, came in. He understood what I was talking about. But some of the others, they couldn't grasp it. And even Travis came in, and Jeremy was saying, look, you'll have to give some examples because they're not getting it, kind of thing. It's like they couldn't grasp that we don't think that if you compress something that makes it heavier just because it became more dense. We don't think that. That's not what we would say. Like, we're just working with actual physics. So I think that they think a lot of them never even listen to our claims or what we have to say because they instantly strawman.
Or they make claims for us, huh?
Okay. Yeah, that's what happens. They end up making the claim. They end up making the claim in their own head without listening to the person who's actually making the claim. That kind of way.
Oh, like Nathan, you say the Earth should rotate under this balloon. No, I don't.
Yeah,
that's
well,
your belief.
Yeah.
Any ballers in Discord want to make claims?
Or tell us what our claims are, because you're doing anyway.
We got Kicking Chicken 05 that said he wants to debate evolution, but he's just in chat.
It takes more faith to believe in evolution than a creator. So bring his ass in. Don't be shy. Come on, it's Friday.
Just ask him to join VC.
VC being voice chat.
Yes. Oh, he's in.
All right, just one thing for Kicking Chicken.
05.
One thing for Kicking Chicken, watch the foul language.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Go ahead, Kicking.
Don't be a chicken shit. Let's go.
What's the topic about?
The topic is about the nature of the Earth.
It's obviously round.
Is it a sphere?
Yes.
And what proof do you have of that?
There's many proofs. There's Cavendish, which demonstrates gravity, which means that the Earth must be a sphere since the force of gravity would be pulling on all sides. There's the curvature, the constant curvature measurements by surveyors. There's Bob Nadel's 15 degree per hour drift, which proves the Earth rotates.
Is there a center point to gravity?
Hang on, he's listing his.
Hold on.
Stop.
Stop. 3. We've had 3. So let me just summarize. We'll go through them one at a time. So we've got the Cavendish experiment as number 1. Got the curvature of the Earth from I forget what. And then we've got Bob Nodell proving 15 degrees an hour drift. Is that your summary of 3? I can't remember the second one for Earth curve.
The curvature measurements from surveyors.
Surveyors. Perfect. Okie dokie. Let's start with Cavendish. First and foremost, do you appreciate that that's 106 years out of date?
People still do it today with modifications.
It's not what I asked.
What do you mean out of date?
What I say, out of date. What if it was food and it was out of date? What would you do with it?
Chuck it.
Do you not just say no if you don't know that it's out of date? Just say no, I didn't know that, and then I'll explain why.
Well, I want to know what you mean out of date.
Superseded by Einsteinian pseudo-Riemannian force-space-time bending.
Oh God. Why does that matter?
Do you know what superseded means?
Because it's still there's still, even if it's Einsteinian or Newtonian, they still say that there's some force or apparent force that acts upon masses. So
they say there's a force, do they? I see. Where do I observe that? What
force or apparent.
Okay, where do I observe that?
Where do we observe it? Let's see. We observe it when we drop an object. We observe that apparent force.
Okay, stop. Just dropped a helium balloon.
I mean, I've never played with a helium balloon, but I know what it does.
Does it go down, go boom, boom?
Boom, boom.
So, do you now understand that it's been superseded?
Of course it goes up.
Sorry. Do we now understand?
Of course, helium balloon
Sorry,
goes up.
hello. Obviously, this is troubling for you. Yeah, you said I just drop an object. Obviously, it doesn't matter that it's been superseded by bending space-time. And then you said you just drop an object, therefore it's still in effect. No. Gas expands in all directions. Gas debunks this notion of mass attracting mass. If you don't understand that, that's unfortunate for you, but it is, in fact, 106 years out of date. Do you still not understand? Do you need further explanation?
Einstein gives us the explanation.
We're not talking
for why
about
there is an
Einstein.
apparent
Stop.
force.
I'm not talking about Einstein. You said Cavendish. Reverend John Michel, CV Boys. Do you know who they are?
No.
It's imperative.
I haven't heard of them.
Stop talking from G plus whoever it is. You don't know who Reverend John Michel and CV Boys are?
No, never heard of them.
Right. Why are you telling us about this quasi-experiment? You don't know anything about it at all.
Wait, are we talking about the Cavendish?
Shut up, you stupid fucking moron! You don't know anything about this stupid subject. Cavendish is 106 years out of date. It's been superseded by Einstein. Do you understand? Because you don't know anything about the Cavendish quasi-experiment. Otherwise, you'd know CV Boys and Reverend John Michel were. You don't. So, can we move on to your next proof, see? Or do you still want to argue that this 106-year out-of-date crap is somehow proving that mass attracts mass, when it does not? Hello? That wasn't rhetorical. Do you still need further explanation for how mass does not attract mass?
It does.
Show me. Mass attracting mass. You going to drop something?
You drop some that can
You're
demonstrate.
like a helium balloon. Sorry, Dosey Joe Fundy idiot. We've covered this though, haven't we? I covered this already. Hello. Just because you didn't accept it. Yeah, we have covered this. You don't just drop something and say mass attracts mass. Gas has mass in Einsteinian vernacular. So gas would move to the centre of Earth also if you're going to make the assertion of Cavendish. It does not. Can we move on, or are you still going to fight this, you stupid idiot?
Buoyancy exists, and it's a consequence if mass attracts mass.
Buoyancy is an assumption of gravity. It would assert that gas...
It's been demonstrated.
Why are you talking? I heard what you said. It's not my first rodeo. Do you think you're the first person to use that word here? It assumes gravity. That would be gas go down, go boom, boom, to force the gas below to go up, displacing it. That would be the layers of gas forcing their way down. No, gas doesn't go down, go boom, boom to force stuff up. Gas expands in all directions. It's not homogeneous. It's not a layer to press down on stuff below. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I get that.
Right, so your buoyancy assumed gas go down, go boom, boom. It doesn't. This is 106 years out of date. That's the third time I've explained this to you. Cavendish, no, mass doesn't attract mass. Superseded 106 years ago by Einstein. Are we clear yet?
Oh my goodness.
My goodness, what What are you talking about, my goodness? You just have to say, yes, I understand that this crap I asserted, this quasi-experiment that has no phenomena and has the IV-DV relationship of if mass, then mass attracts mass, that you don't even know the associating parties. You think it's, oh
Why
my
would I
gosh.
need to know them to understand
Why are you
the
talking?
Cavendish?
Hello? Why are you talking? You didn't know any
you
of the
keep assuming
associated
things about
parties.
me.
Why are you talking through me?
Because you keep assuming things about me.
I
why would
know
need
you
to...
don't know anything about this because I've asked you to qualify what you know, and you didn't.
Goodness.
Again, my goodness. No, just you having your total ignorance in regards to your own claim laid out for you for a flat earther. You think Cavendish proves mass attracts mass and things will move to the centre of Earth. They don't. Gas has mass in that vernacular, and it expands in all directions, debunking this notion that gas goes down, go boom, boom. Your further rebuttal is buoyancy. That would be gas pressing down to force other gases up. That would mean gas is a homogeneous layer pressing down. It doesn't do that. Second time I've told you that. Do you want to say, oh my goodness again? Or just concede that mass doesn't attract mass? It's 106 years out of date.
If you have a cup and you fill it with sulfur hexafluoride, why doesn't it expand with the to the atmosphere?
It does! All gases disperse with time. It's called entropy. You think if you've got sulfur hexafluoride... Shut up! I'm addressing you. I heard you. Do you think that means that you need to continually talk as I respond? You coward. Just listen to the response. Even man-made gases like sulfur hexafluoride are still subject to entropy. Are you an entropy denier?
What do you mean by entropy?
Are you an entropy denier? Do you think that sulfur hexafluoride isn't subject to entropy? You complete idiot.
What's entropy?
You fucking moron. Why are you even here?
Someone invited me.
Yeah, well, why are you talking about this? You don't know anything about the subject. You're asking me what entropy is after telling me sulfur hexafluoride go down, go boom, boom. No, it will also disperse. It's absolutely subject to the law of nature known as entropy. You bloody idiot. But you're prepared to tell me, oh my gosh, again, and then ask me what the hell entropy is. Change with time.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave now because that's...
Why? We've already dealt with one of your stupid claims. We've dealt with the 106-year out-of-date Cavendish. Now we're going to move on to your next claim of Earth curve based on surveyors. Or you're going to run before you've even had your second claim dealt with.
All right, let's go to...
Shut the fuck up. You're having your ass spanked. Now, if you want to run like a fucking coward, you're more than willing. I will still deal with your stupid claims. I've dealt with one that's Cavendish. Now, if you can't tolerate your stupid shit being ripped apart by a flat earther, then run. Yeah? Do you want to run, coward? Maybe you can sit down and shut the fuck up while I take apart your stupid claims. What are you, a man or a mouse? It's not rhetorical.
Yes,
right, so you're going to sit through the rest of your shit that you spouted here? Or are you going to run?
Be able to stay here for the curvature thing, so...
Yeah,
maybe
the next claim you make. Yeah, I heard your claim. I asked you to clarify it for me. Now I'm going to take a giant steaming shit on it, and hopefully you'll be here for that. Or, like a complete coward, you're just going to scattergun us with your claims and then run when they are ripped to shreds by a flat earther. So which is it? Are you going to run, or are you going to listen to me rip apart your claim that surveyors have measured curvature to Earth?
I'm not running. I literally have something to do very soon, so I want to get there as fast as possible.
Oh,
I'll
do it quickly then.
Curvature measurements, but I do want to hear
really?
a
no worries.
explanation.
No worries. So which surveyors are measuring curvature, pray tell?
Oh gosh, I can't remember the paper, but I wasn't going to really get onto that.
Sorry,
I really want to hear an explanation.
Do you not even know how to back this claim? You've said surveyors measure Earth curve. Which ones? Oh, I might have to... Are you just a total amateur, haven't got the slightest clue? Are you totally in over your head here? Is that why you want to run away? Because you basically are being embarrassed immediately with your total lack of knowledge for your own claim. What type of surveyors? I don't know. Why are you claiming it, you stupid idiot? That's not rhetorical. If you don't know, why are you claiming it? Hello?
Yeah.
Not rhetorical. If you don't know your own stupid claim, why are you telling it to me? Because I'm on the verge of ripping your claim that you don't even know to shreds, but you don't even know your own claim. It's pathetic. Why are you here?
He means answer him.
Why
I
are
did
you
want to get into
here?
this. How do you explain the...
Don't ask me what I'm going to explain. Why are you here when you don't even know what you're claiming?
Oh, here's the team I found. Oh shit, let's see. Let me get...
You seem to be segueing back on like I'm asking about surveyors still. I'm not. I'm asking, given that you've just had to go and check what type of surveyor you're referencing, that means you do not understand your own claim. That's glaringly obvious. Based on the fact that you don't even know your own claim and you're prepared to talk through me highlighting that right now, I'm asking, why the hell would you be inspired to come based on you having absolutely no clue about this subject at all?
I was just coming in because someone invited me, and I was wondering what it's like in here. I decided to ask you some questions to see if you have any explanations for it, because I want to hear flat Earth explanations for it. I wasn't coming here to debate. I just wanted to hear simple explanations from a flat earther.
Okay, simple. No problem. Simple explanation for Cavendish. It's not an experiment. It doesn't have a phenomenon. It doesn't have a valid hypothesis.
All right, that's all I need.
106. You want to know or you want to talk through? You just said you wanted to hear flat earthers give simple explanations based on stuff that you've got questions about. Right, well, you've put your stuff to us. I'm ripping it apart. While you interrupt me, then we move on to the next claim, which is that surveyors have apparently measured Earth curve. What surveyors? And you don't know. Now, based on the fact that you haven't got a fucking clue what you're talking about, why would you postulate this?
So the curvature measurement was made by Sir George Everest.
I'm not asking you to reiterate your claim. I'm asking you based on the fact that you don't know what your claim is and you've had to go and look it up, why would you be under the misapprehension that you should be making this claim? Is it just Dunning-Kruger stupidity?
Is. I just forgot who did it for a second. I just had to double check who it was.
I don't want the claim. I want to know what makes you think you've got any sort of right to lay down claims when you don't know what you're claiming. You're having to look it up on the fly.
I just want to know how you explain it, that's all.
It's your claim! Why are you asking me to explain your shit that's wrong and out of date?
No.
Surveyors measuring
I'm
Earth
saying
curve.
that
Cello, it's another one of those times that I take apart your stupidity and you immediately start talking through me. Yeah, I understand that I am quite terrifying. Doesn't mean that you have to immediately and incessantly ejaculate through everything I say. Now shut up! Your claim needs to be backed with actual evidence that surveyors actually measure Earth curve. Now that's your claim. You're asking me how I'm going to explain it? It's not my claim, it's yours. Now, so far when I've asked you to back your claim, you are incapable and have to go and look stuff up. So why claim it in the first place? That's about the fourth time I've asked it.
Do you want the evidence?
No, are you thick? Is 5 repetitions of my question just undigestible for you? Based on the fact that you're having to now look it up, you've looked it up, but you still think that somehow I want the claim. No. I want to know why on earth you would feel necessary to make the claim based on your total ignorance of it, having probably read it once.
I've read it multiple times.
What type of surveyor?
I think it's a geodetic surveyor.
All right. What's a
Geodetic
tangent
surveying.
plane? Cat got your tongue?
What?
You've read it several times. My God, you know all about this stuff. Several times. You can understand the argument. What's a tangent plane? Utilised by geodetic surveyors. You obviously know what it is. You've read it several times. You cocky little twat.
Oh, man.
So, fuckwit who's read it several times, what is a tangent plane?
I don't freaking know.
I don't know. So, back to my original question, you stupid, ignorant, globe-believing moron. Why on earth would you be making this claim, and then when questioned for the first time on your claim, you go all high-pitched and tell me you don't know anything about it?
If you want the evidence and you want to read it for yourself, just go to mctoon.net/r and
Fuck you with your plug for MC Toon. Scumbag
Get
that's
those
got to buy
measurements.
views. You know MC Toon pays for views. He has to buy
No, he
views. You
doesn't.
realise that? He has to
Pay
buy
views.
his audience. You realise that?
I'm surprised he hasn't been banned
I'm
for.
surprised he's not paying you. He's paying for people to watch his videos. He's paying YouTube to promote him with ads. In other words, he pays YouTube to put ads up for his material. He's paying for views. It's pathetic. You want to come here and plug him? What's a tangent plane? Geodetic
Wait, I want to hear
surveyors
about
use-
that MC Toon they'd
Sorry, why'd you keep plugging MC Toon rather than answering your geodetic surveyors based question? What's a tangent plane, shit for brains?
Wait, MC Toon really?
Stop plugging him! Is that what you've got, MC Toon? To send your little minions here who don't know a fucking thing, rather than you facing questions about tangent plane? Yeah, because you know what would happen, don't you, Toon? With your ads for your videos about 5G bilking. Yeah, paying for views, you sad little twat, and then sending your minions here who don't know a thing? Doesn't seem to know what a tangent plane is.
Maybe he paid him too for the advertising.
Wait,
would like to
seriously,
hear
MC Toon really?
Shut
does
the
pay
fuck up!
viewers?
Somebody kick him out. Is that the end of your time here? I'm just going to perpetually shout through everyone that MC Toon needs to be subscribed to.
No, I'm asking you. Does MC
Sorry, you pathetic little twat. You still haven't answered a question about your geodetic surveying claim. You claim that they measure the curve of Earth. Is this going to descend into you plugging MC Toon constantly rather than proving geodetic surveyors have actually measured Earth curve?
No, I'm sorry. You.
Yeah, stuttering bitch. You're being asked about your claim about geodetic surveyors, not about your allegiance to some twat that has to buy views. Do you comprehend this?
I never heard of this. What do you mean, MC Toon?
No, kick him out. He's just given up. So, when it comes to proving the actual claim, according to him, it's worth having a sphere belief. That would be geodetic surveyors measuring Earth curve. Yet when I ask him the first basics of geodetic surveying and tangent planes, doesn't even know what it is. But he knows all about how to plug MC Toon. How pathetic. You'd think you'd have Earth curve proof based on what you said, but you haven't. You've just got lots of plugs for some shitty YouTuber that's buying views.
I'm muted.
You stutter like a bitch. Go tell MC Toon how well you came and how I reduced you to a stuttering bitch.
Really pays for you?
Yeah, stutter like a bitch while you plug MC Toon rather than justify your claim that you can measure Earth curve by way of geodetic surveying.
He pays YouTube?
Yeah, he's literally paying them to promote his material. At the top of a scrolling list, you can get an ad for an MC Toon video about 5G bilking, which he has had to pay for. So he's literally paying YouTube to promote his shit. It's pathetic.
I did not know that.
I don't care what you know. You don't know anything. You're promoting shit you don't... My God, he's promoting this guy. And then when I tell him about a mild aspect of this twat's behaviour, he hasn't got a clue. You're promoting him, but you don't know anything about him either. Well, way to keep to form. Yet you didn't know anything about your claims. You don't know anything about the thing you're promoting and shilling for. You're just the typical ignorant, globe-believing moron.
No, I think he's playing dumb. I think he knows better and he's just acting. Oh,
No,
does he do
he'd
that?
rather-
He didn't
he'd
convincing
rather-
convincing to me at all.
No, I bet he's following
doesn't know
instructions. I would like to bet, having never seen anything ever by MC Toon, that MC Toon has instructed his audience to go and promote him. And this guy has just done exactly what he's been told. So when MC Toon has said, go out and speak the name of MC Toon, this dude has done exactly as he's been told, because that's what he does. He's just parroting off what he's been told to do.
I haven't been told by MC Toon, but maybe... I don't know.
Sorry, mate, you're here to give us geodetic surveyor's Earth curve measurements.
I can't believe he pays you.
Sorry, you're here to give us the backing to your claims that you've made. We're on number 2 of 3. We haven't got to Bob Nodell's claim to be Earth turning underneath something that Blue Marble Science completely disagrees with. We haven't got to that yet. But you want to babble on about MC2 nonsense. Just constantly.
No, I was just surprised. I didn't ever heard that he... I didn't know he paid YouTube.
You
for that
missed
stuff,
out
so I
on
was
some
surprised.
Oh, right. I don't care. I care about your claim of geodetic surveyors. Somehow you think that proves Earth's got measured curvature. You're wrong.
Can you, like, give me the specifics? Because I do
It's
want
your claim. Do you not understand your own claim? You're asking me to describe your claim to you as you interrupt, as I highlight that you're now asking me to explain your own claim to you.
Okay, let me explain the claim. All right. So these surveyors went to different locations, 3, and they kind of formed a triangle, and then they measured the angles between each of those points. And if the Earth was flat, they would measure angles that are 180 degrees. But when
Where do they get a triangle from on a curved surface? Where do they get? Where do they get a triangle from on a curved surface?
That's the claim. I just want to know what you have to say
Sorry,
about
do
it.
you not know how to defend your claim? It's your claim now. Yes, triangle, I heard you. How'd you get that on a curved surface?
If it's a spherical triangle.
Sorry, a spherical triangle? Are you a fucking idiot?
What?
Sorry, are you so geometrically illiterate that you don't understand what you've just stated? Is this the level of MC Toon's audience? A spherical triangle? No, I'm pretty certain we're talking about the regular type with straight flat lines. Are you stupid? Did you not go through grade school? Do you not know what a triangle is? Hey, MC Toon, this is one of your fans. He doesn't seem to understand what a triangle is.
I know what a triangle.
Oh, right. Where'd you get a straight line for it on a curved surface? Second time I've asked. See how well MC Toon's audience member does.
I'm just going to restate the claim. So
I understand the claim. I heard it. You said about drawing a triangle? Yeah, I got the claim. I heard. I listened. Do you think I just need it repeating 17 times? Maybe you could answer some questions about what you've just claimed. I understood and I listened to. So, where'd you get a straight line for the triangle? On a curved surface, if that's what you're claiming. Third time I've asked. MC Toon, your compadre is not doing too well. Struggling to understand what a triangle is, and then isn't answering where he gets a straight line for that triangle on a curved surface. Fourth time asking. How do you think you're doing? Well,
to be honest, I don't really watch MC Toon. FTFE is more of my guy.
Oh, really? Fight the Flat Earth understood what a tangent plane is. I then raped him with that question. It was really amusing. He came on my show and described how the geodetic surveyors acquire tangent planes. I asked him where he got the tangent from. Now, obviously, this is so far over your head, being a thicko, that you haven't got the slightest vaguest idea what I'm talking about, because I'm talking about how geodetic surveyors actually acquire their measurements by way of tangent planes. Something that as I repeat, raped Fight the Flat Earth with. I asked him where he got his tangent from. Did you know that? Do you not keep up with me either? Yeah, I like to absolutely annihilate people like Craig just by asking them where they get a tangent from. Something you haven't got the vaguest idea what I'm talking about now, do you? But you're telling me that geodetic surveyors measure curve. Wow. Amazing you can't actually describe it. You just described making a triangle. And then all I've asked you is where you get a straight line for that on a curved surface 5 times you haven't answered yet. Just told me that you're a fan of Fight the Flat Earth who was raped with a tangent plane. Something you don't understand. Hey, MC Toon, by the way, he says he's not your fan. I don't blame him. You have to buy views. So that's why he's not watching and you're having to buy them.
MC Toon buys his views.
So, hello? Yet to tell us about your little proofsy. You don't seem to understand it. You haven't acknowledged the fact that Craig got absolutely annihilated by the same claim when I asked him where he got his tangent from. Obviously, he can't see his own hand in front of his face. It's all refracted. So he's definitely not getting a straight line for a tangent.
I would have to watch whatever you're talking about.
Yeah, what? Get a grip on what you're claiming? Yeah, you know shit, mate. Yeah, you'd actually have to educate yourself in what you're here to do. Yeah. We know you're thick and ignorant. Yeah, we know. You'd have to go away and understand this stuff. Yes. Of course you would. That's why I asked you why the hell you're here.
Because someone invited me and I thought I'd just ask a couple of questions about...
What, get annihilated? You know, whoever sent you, you need to really thank them. Say, oh, thank you so much for sending me that invite. I went in and was absolutely humiliated based on my total ignorance of everything I said. It was really funny for the Flat Earthers to laugh at me. Thanks so much for sending me that way.
I want to know where he got this spherical triangle from.
We haven't found out yet, Arwin. He hasn't told us where he got a straight line for that triangle yet. Maybe you should
Well,
go away
maybe
and
this
watch the
triangle
stuff
doesn't
about
have
the
it.
triangle that you're claiming, so you understand how to defend it. Maybe telling us that you are a fan of Simon Dan next will help you by answering this question you haven't answered. How did you think you're
Simon
doing, by
Dan
the
would
way?
be,
Doing
but he
well?
doesn't really.
Doing well. That as well as MC
I do
Toon
need
would be
to cook
doing.
lunch now, so I do need to go now. So I'll definitely research that stuff you mentioned.
What, like the Cavendish experiment, 106 years out of date? Yeah, you do that. Yeah, about tangent planes for geodetic surveyors and how they measure it all flat. Yeah, you do that. Earth's obviously observably and measurably flat, beyond the assumption of tangents that are now bent. Goodbye.
Good luck.
Look, dude. Nice concessions at the end there. That was really helpful.
Last but by no means least, we have a claim that there's 15 degrees an hour deviation as Earth turns underneath a gyroscope, as claimed to be proven by Bob Nodell. That would infer we have a Coriolis drift at 15 degrees an hour. Further to that, the globe asserts that anything leaving the non-inertial turning reference frame of Earth will drift at 15 degrees an hour. That would mean that aeroplanes, having left its surface, would drift from your vantage point watching them turning beneath. And that would shorten flight times. A flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles would only take about an hour and a half instead of 4.5 hours, because Earth would be turning underneath for you to observe this effect of the plane drifting at 15 degrees an hour because we're turning beneath it. That does not happen. Earth is not turning.
You mean MC Toon's pays people? What?
I just want to know where he got that spherical triangle from when he actually hasn't watched any videos to be informed about anything he was supposedly here to ask questions about. So I just wonder, where did he get that? Did he just make it up in a moment?
Wait, MC Toon's pays people?
Neil, you're coming through as a very young squeaky child.
Wait, MC Toon, he pays people to come here?
He
Right. I think I got the idea that he was surprised by that, since he mentioned it 15 times with surprise.
So he pays people?
It's in Ballbusters. Is there a £150,000 anti-5G scam? Oh, what's this? Oh, it's an ad. Oh, so MC Toon paid to promote this video, did he? Oh, right. Tough times, huh, MC Toon?
Arwen won't go against him because he bought Arwen a Bible, so we got to cut him a break.
It's pretty obvious what happened there. He came in and he made claims and then pretended that he wasn't making claims and pretended that he was asking questions. Obviously, he wasn't at all, capable to deal with the veracity in which Nathan came at him. And obviously, he felt that, oh, wow, what have I walked into here? An inquisition? Well, no, it's not an inquisition, is it, sir? It's effectively what you're stating, what you don't know, and us simply stating to you, you do not know it, and showing very quickly how you do not know it. Hence, when the names of the people that conducted Cavendish were brought up, you were there in the dark.
So how is that not an inquisition? I think it is.
Well, he invited himself. That's why it's not an inquisition.
Oh, right. He's not being forced pulled out of his house, but he came here and
That's exactly right.
It's going to be an inquisition. What did you expect?
I think he expected it to be easy, and I think he expected that, we were going to be lightweights, or Nathan was going to be a lightweight, because all flat earthers effectively are devoid of any form of intellect, correct? That's the anti-flat earther position.
He's probably sat here listening to us talking about boxing. It's like, these flat earthers, piece of piss.
Well,
Tell
this
me
is
more about my eyes.
This is the result of parroting something versus studying it and understanding it and making a claim about it.
Bingo.
Yeah, MC Toon told me that geodetic surveyors prove we've got Earth curve. Okay, how did they prove we've got Earth curve? I might have to go and watch that video again, eh? What, you mean you haven't got the slightest clue how it works or what it proves? You just took him at his word because you're a complete moron? Yeah, we know, and you can easily demonstrate that to us, can't you? I stand by
make
what I
him
said
do
as well.
it.
I bet you anything that MC Toon's telling his audience to go out and promote him, and he's just done what he's told.
Stop calling him MC Tunes. His name is Mick. He's a Mick, not an MC. He couldn't be the master of ceremony for anything.
Okay. Because obviously that's something to get in a flap about, Neil. Yeah, I totally understand.
Yes, there is. And
Well,
he's-
no, because Neil, I mean,
another
Neil,
thing-
are you being paid to advertise his name correctly?
Yeah, Neil.
Hold on.
Stop shilling for
Hold
MC
on.
Toon.
Stop shilling,
Another
Neil.
thing- Shut up. Another thing, he was doing it on the fly. He was Googling information on the fly. Come on, this guy was a half a retard.
Wait, so you're saying MC Toon pays people for reviews? Who've ever said that?
Anyway, it stands for militant conformist. Anyway, MC Toon.
Huey's here now. I can ask him as it segues nicely. So, Neil, if I'm saying that in this arena there's no need to pull rank in terms of your previously held positions or your education, and Quantum Eraser hasn't until now done that. Whereas, what? Because it's a master of ceremonies, I should really pay that more respect, or he's probably going to get more respect for calling himself MC. It's like, what the hell?
Thinking more like a street cred. An MC, somebody cool on the streets. That dude is not an MC. He's a freaking retard.
Just means master of ceremonies. That's all it means.
Still think it's master.
It's got cred on the streets.
Okay. Because, of course, street cred's what we value here the most. That's, like, uber important on Flat Earth debate.
If so, then I guess I'm at the top. I've got so much street cred.
Okay. So,
The guy's a heliocentrist.
Huey,
The moron.
we heard that Bob the Science Guy is pulling rank on you.
What?
Coming to the Raven. Come in, John.
Joe Coffey, Betty Birdmaker. No, he's not around. Left his line wide open on Discord, though, I noticed.
Come to the Raven.
So
Talk
if
to me, John.
if MC means master of ceremonies, and my son is an altar boy at high mass, and he's the master of ceremonies, can I now call him MC Sam?
Yeah, if you want.
Awesome.
Got
Third
himself-
grade street cred coming up.
Got himself killed in Nam. Didn't even know it. Can't say it to the bone.
It's only street cred because an MC in street terms would be the guy who's actually spitting rhymes.
Mic control.
Right, correct. In control.
That might be a slightly different context then. So okay.
Oh, I'm sure he's, as an altar boy, is he not part of the choir as well? He's not spitting rhymes for Jesus?
No, that's a different group.
That's more like a choir boy.
That's got it. You bet it.
Let's hope he wasn't a choir toy.
J-E-S-U-S is the way, yes.
It's a Jimmy Carr joke. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
too...
when we get a wave going between the sides of it's great.
You say Jimmy Carr joke, I say a Jimmy Savile joke. When I say hopefully he's not a choir toy.
Now you've lowered the tone. I can tell my Jimmy Carr joke. So Jimmy Carr says...
Yeah, anytime you mention Jimmy Carr, that's dropped the whole
It's going to lower the tone, you know, already, right? He says, yeah, I used to be a choir boy. All that kneeling and standing up and sitting down. I just wished the priest would make up his mind and pick a position to fuck me in.
Ouch.
Nathan.
Jimmy Carr. I made damn sure that I didn't take credit for Jimmy Carr's mastery of filthy, dirty jokes.
You say it,
That
you
was-
own
that
it.
was
Just
expert.
like me when I make a claim. It's mine. Well,
No, I've just absolved myself of ownership by making the disclaimer before and after telling Jimmy Carr's joke.
As the representative dirty papist, I accept your concession there.
Exactly, and the YouTube algorithm understands that implicitly. You can read between the lines, can the algorithm? Yeah, I'm getting demonetized for this video.
Yet to be seen.
I don't think you get it demonetized for verbally, personally reciting somebody else's joke. You'd have to actually copy somebody else's recorded joke and play it.
If you don't
for that to happen.
If you don't give credit, that's a crucifiable offence in the comedy arena. If you tell someone else's
Yes.
joke, then you might as well get your hands cut off for doing it, because that's just not done. It's the same when Chocolate was explaining why you don't get any rap covers. Was it Chocolate explaining this? I can't remember who it was explaining. Maybe it was. But you know, because it's just you don't do it. You don't copy other people's jokes. You know, you make up your own jokes. And if you do tell someone else's joke, you credit them for it.
Yep.
correct.
Indeed, that is very correct.
Yeah, and see what happens when you don't do that as a professional comedian. Just take a look at Owen Benjamin.
Hold on,
Because
my
he
friend.
holds
Look what
on to
happened to
that.
him.
He's gonna shove his face in it for years.
Who? Owen who? Yeah, check
Owen
out Glowbirth
Benjamin.
Sniper, copyright Nathan Oakley 1980.
Well, my
Guys, is
friend
it
got
true?
this.
Is it true that Owen Benjamin is a flat earther?
Who?
Nah, he
He's
doesn't
not
call
gonna
himself
answer
I
that.
don't know who
but
you're
yes.
talking about. Just
Can I tell you the story about my friend that got his eye shot out?
no.
Please?
Do you mind? No, thank you. I'd rather
God,
not.
What the hell?
Well,
Neil?
anyway, he had to get. I won't say how it happened, but he had to get a wooden eye. So they put a wood eye in. They did a pretty good job on it, and it looked okay.
Don't call me
But he
wood
was
eye.
very.
Plastic leg.
Listen, he was very self-conscious.
Did he
So-
try to put on sunglasses with
Can I
terrestrial
tell
refraction
the
in mind?
freaking story. So he went out to a dance, and there was a girl checking him out. I told him, Joey, the girl's checking you out. Go over there and at least ask her to dance. She's pretty good looking, but she got big ears. But go over there and ask her to dance. So he got his confidence up about a half hour trying to get him over there. So he finally walks over, and he asked the girl to dance, but I had to go with him. He walks over to the girl, and he says, excuse me, would you like to dance with me? So she said, excitedly, would I? And he said, big ears, big ears.
Terrible.
Well, since we're on that quip, the other day I walked into a BJ Value House and
Wow.
I walked into a BJ Value House and effectively on their t-shirts it says 2 meters, please. And I said to, and it really wasn't innuendo whatsoever. And I said, sorry, girl, I don't sell inches. I don't sell meters. I only sell inches. And then I instantly was like, what have I just said? I began to become very apologetic, obviously.
Yeah, you know what she was thinking? Oh, is this a joke? Sorry.
No, the joke is over because that is the joke. The joke was on me at that point. Like
Well,
I
she was
said,
thinking, third time today I've heard that joke.
No, she said it was the first time that someone had said it to her. She looked very shocked and she didn't find it funny at all.
What the hell are you talking about?
Have you ever seen Sid the Sexist?
What?
Viz character, cartoon character, comic character called Sid the Sexist.
Never heard of him.
Guy from Newcastle. Just a recommendation
Then
if
I
you're enjoying
definitely
these
never-
jokes, check out Sid the Sexist. If you're clicking on the report button, maybe don't check out Sid the Sexist.
You know, speaking of
Yeah,
street
don't.
cred, you would think that a guy with street cred like me can never get scammed, but I'm telling you, it can happen. You
What?
can get scammed.
Do you want Sid the Sexist chat up line? You right, love? Do you like flowers? Well, you could put your 2 lips on this cock.
Oh, gosh. This is not a joke. This really happened to me, and I got scammed.
Got another one?
I don't get it. I don't. I don't get it. I don't get it.
What?
Two lips.
That's good.
Two
It's got
lips.
to be explained to you. 2 lips.
You might want to cut the recording
Yeah.
here, Nathan.
I don't mind. This is already
I'm
well
not-
demonetized. I already lost monetization on
I'm
this
not the
video.
sharpest
It's
stone.
already gone downhill
Exactly.
a long time ago.
Yep.
Anyway, I got scammed by eating dinner, and we're all having a good time. So some lady comes over to me, and she tells me that I look like her son, who got killed in the Iraq War. So it changed the whole mood of everything. I said, well, I'm sorry to hear about your son. Goes back to a table, and we continue eating. And then she just comes over again and interrupts us. She goes, can you do me one favor? I never got a chance to say goodbye to my son, and he never had a chance to say goodbye to me. I get emotional, I talk about it, but it did happen. So she said, can you say goodbye, Mom, just once for me? So everybody at the table was like, come on, bro, what are you doing? The lady lost her son. So I said, okay, goodbye, Mom. And that was it. We're all eating, having a good time. Call for the check, it comes. Guy brings the check, and he says, and you're paying for your mom, right? I immediately look over at the lady's freaking gone. I said, what?
Love it.
Mother said you were paying for her. So I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. So I run out of the freaking restaurant. I see her down the block. She's about to get in the bus. I go full speed to her. $275 check. As she's going on the bus, I grab her by the leg and I start pulling on her like I'm pulling on yours.
Very good.
Hey,
Neil, very
that
good.
was my mom,
Wow,
homie.
that
That
is
was my
terrible.
mom. That was my
That's a true
mom.
story, not a joke.
Yeah.
I had to close the Discord line for Latter-day Saints because you had your mic open the whole time making background noise. Thank you for that.
Oh,
worth
I
it,
just got
worth it for it
You're
was my
pulling-
mom.
You're pulling on her leg like you're pulling on mine.
What?
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Yeah,
What'd I do?
nothing. You
It
just had
wasn't
your
me,
mic
though,
open.
no, Nathan.
Just causing background
Right?
noise.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, here, hold on. I suck at this kind of stuff. You know
That's
what I mean?
okay. I've got control over it. I can sort it out, but just
You
when
guys
the
literally
middle
gotta
of
hold my hand through all this. Hold on.
it's okay.
Wait. Hold on.
If I interrupt Neil in the middle of his,
Does that sound better, or is that still messed up?
no, your mic's wide open so we can hear it. If your
Hold
mic's
on,
not
hold on,
on
I'm
mute,
sorry, hold on.
when you're
Can
not,
you hear us?
there we go. Perfect. He's got the mute button. Real
After
good.
you talk, go on mute. That's all. See, watch.
Copy that.
Unlike
I'm
this.
sorry, bro. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Don't worry.
Okay.
This time.
Next time, maybe not.
Bunch
so
of crude
much.
bastards here.
I like to say bar
Well,
stewards.
if you guys have any questions for me, I'm always here for you guys. If you guys want to know about the second law of thermodynamics, gyroscopes, and stuff like that, I can always refer you to one of my friends like Witsit or something. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's handy. We've got other people like that on the Globe
Yeah.
side. We can ask them anything they like. They can just refer us to MC Toon.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, but you know what? I brought about, in the past month, I brought about 15 or 20 inmates.
What, to Flat Earth or to Justice?
He's
Speaking of
Batman.
that, speaking about that, you guys hear what's going on in Rikers Island over here in New York? Oh my goodness.
Oh, I have heard a little bit about
There's
it.
going to be a
You had
freaking riot
floods.
there soon.
What is it next? Locusts? What next?
Well, Neil, go ahead.
I was just saying, I work with a guy whose relative is in there. He said it's really bad. I mean, like, really bad. There'll be a freaking uprising there soon.
Yeah, they're not even like giving them meals or anything, are they? And then all the
Nothing.
irrigation inside of it, all the toilets have been flooded. Every level of Rikers Island has been flooded effectively. So there's
That's 10
they're
deaths in a
wading in
week.
shit. They're wading in shit, left, right,
Well,
and center.
they left 1,500 people out during the pandemic, and they rearrested 3 times the amount of them. They can't process them and put them in housing units, so they got them in showers, freaking waiting rooms and cells, and like 30 people to a small cell. It's going to be a problem soon.
And then they get angry, and then effectively the inmates make it worse for themselves by plugging up the toilets and making it flood, which makes absolutely no sense. It's already terrible for you there.
What country are you
Why
guys
would
talking
increase
about,
it?
though?
America.
What country is that?
America. New York, America.
That's the good old US of A, the greatest country ever.
I never seen no people filling up the toilets, but sometimes the plumbing's so bad they gotta lock everybody in the day room inside one cell where they come and fix it.
America's like a third world country with a Gucci belt, man.
No,
Yeah,
just
I
picked up on
spent a
something.
lot of my years incarcerated, bro. I fought for California wildfires and shit.
So, are you talking us from the inside?
Yeah, no, I've been to California fire camp, bro. You know, I went to a northern camp for 3.5 years.
Don't know what that means.
Like a
Been in
fire
prison.
camp for inmates, you know? Like
Means
where
that
we
he's,
actually go and fight fires.
No, I don't know. You'll have to
They
explain.
give you a shovel and they put you in a lineup, and essentially your job is to kill anything that comes past you, so it doesn't restart fires. It's a break line. They create break lines.
Yeah, you're getting into
It's a
BMS, bare
chain
minimum
gang.
soil. So in like an hour, they want you to do like 4 feet by 360 feet roughly within an hour. Crews have from 13 to 15 people, sometimes 17, but usually 15. You
Right.
take a month-long course.
It's like chain gangs.
It's like a chain gang that creates trenches that stops fires, basically.
Wow.
Nathan.
Right, fire trenches.
So
It's a
presumably
standard
this is
procedure.
like in the Shawshank Redemption. Presumably this is all sorts of, I was going to say unions, but it's probably not unionized. So someone's
It's
skimming money off
definitely
it,
not
right?
unionized. It's definitely not unionized.
No. But what I'm saying is this: if you're doing that, right, you're providing a service that presumably somebody else could have been providing and charging for.
Someone is making money from it. You're exactly right. So what will happen would be a governor.
They've got entire cities built around these prisons because of how much money is generated, not only through the labor of the inmates, but as well as the state derived funds.
Yeah, I bet. Amazing.
Well, you
That's
would
right.
have
They
a-
get
you'd have a
funds
local governor.
sponsored and they make money at the same time.
So the way I know
So there's a lot of incentive to keep these prisons set up as a revolving door, right? Because as long as they can keep inmates coming in faster than they're leaving, then they can keep their whole money making system going.
Yeah.
So the whole point is to create a revolving door through the influence of pop culture.
Yeah. You know who makes
Right,
the
they
most
need
money in these
quotas of
fires, though?
prisoners.
That revolving
know who
door
make-
has been created.
Guys, you're talking straight
it's
through the
been in
guys in
operation.
Discord. Neil.
I'm sorry.
No, not
Go
you.
ahead.
I'm telling them off.
Oh.
I'm trying to hear you, Flatter Day
okay.
Saints. You said, you know what makes the most money? And then they carried on talking.
Okay, so this is the sick part. The people that make the most money are the California Department of Corrections COs, the guards. So when you get called to a fire, right, you're getting inmates get $1 an hour from the time they leave the fire camp. And let's say we're gone 30 days. We get $1 an hour every 20, it doesn't stop even when we sleep, right? Well, the guards are making like 3.5 times. I've seen guards pull in 90 grand on one fire that was like 2.5 months long. Because the guards are getting paid every hour like 90 or 120 an hour all day long. And all they do is sit there right where the CCVs park, and they just sit on their phone. They're making almost twice as much as a CDC fire, right? But I've overheard them say, like, we need to start some fires. Let's get some Fuzzies. Let's get some Domars. I've even heard of them putting gasoline in giant truck tires, lighting them and rolling them down hills, because they're not really making it. They're not making much until they're on a fire. And the more fires they go
once
to
the
with
fire's
inmates,
going, you're getting paid around the clock. So there's a lot of incentive. They've been busting fire captains and chiefs around the nation being responsible for these fires. And nobody on the media is talking about it, man. Like, if you look at Australia, I guarantee you Australia was a man-made fire. Guaranteed.
dude,
In
bro.
fact, they busted hundreds of people starting fucking fires everywhere. Like,
Well,
I don't know what's going on, man, but it's
Here's
like
the thing. Here's the thing. And I'll tell you, any person who doesn't even know fire behavior, here's 2 things you can guarantee that it's direct energy weapon is the smoke. When the smoke is like a really whitish color, that's direct energy weapon, because regular fires, forest fires or structure fires, produce like a really dark, thick gray, almost black sooty smoke, right? Well, the smoke from these fires doesn't really leave soot, but you'll look at the metal has oxidization on it, like it doesn't look like anything from regular fire.
Well,
I was with a crew that got engulfed for 5 whole minutes inside of a CCV, and all that was on there was a couple bubbles of the paint. The rims and everything were fine. all the
When
trees
when
and
when
brush all around were burned down.
when something's on fire next to you, such as a tree, the
Yeah.
proximity that you can be within the distance of that tree is nothing close, right? But when you look at the evidence of the aftermath of, for example, the Paris fire, you can see
The
clearly that
paradise? You
things,
mean paradise?
yeah, the Paradise fire.
Yeah,
You can
yeah, they camp. Yeah.
you can clearly see that there's other infrastructure within the appropriate proximity to have the deformation from the heat exchange affect it, but there's nothing indicating that, which tells me you're absolutely right about as far as a direct energy weapon.
What?
Oh, bro,
What
bro,
the
bro, you
fuck?
take any part of
Oh, guys,
a
stop.
leaf.
Hello,
No, it's
hello,
more like a
hello,
chemical
hello, hello,
fire.
hello. Sorry. Do you not realise how conspiratard you sound?
I do.
It is true, though, Nathan. There's
Oh,
clear
there we go.
Yeah, it is.
Well, how
Yeah,
do you
yeah,
know
yeah,
it's
yeah.
true?
Be very skeptical. Yeah. It is true, though, because there's plenty of footage around California, Canada, even all over the place where there's literally houses.
On your footage of
Complete.
space, too.
Can I finish, Neil? For crying out
Neil,
loud!
hold on a second, Darwin. Neil, look, he wants to get to the end of his example so then he can correlate it with a massive step to energy weapons. Go ahead, Darwin.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. There are certain types of fire, right? There's no way that could naturally arrive under any circumstances. And those are the fires where metal and rock, actual stone, are completely disintegrated, yet a tree 2 meters away is completely unscathed. Okay? That is
Absolutely.
naturally completely impossible. That
Sorry,
can
you've just
only
told me.
be done artificially.
Hold on. You've just told me how it's actually happened, and now
Yeah.
you're telling me that that's impossible, therefore energy weapon. My
No,
God.
it's impossible to occur naturally through radiated heat fire, like, fire in a forest fire. It radiates, then the radiation dries everything up, then that catches fire. Yeah, that's not.
Yes.
That situation can never cause these circumstances
Okay, fine.
where a house, brick and metal, is completely disintegrated,
Fine.
yet
I
a
think.
tree 2 meters away
Okay.
still stands.
Thanks. We've had enough of the.
Have you seen it?
Hold
and
on.
witnessed it?
Hold on. We've had enough of the quote unquote evidence laid out and the preposterous claim that follows it. I think we're done with this. It's not even on
No,
subject.
we're not.
Yeah, we
No.
are. It's not your
No.
show. Come
Well,
on.
this is bringing me into the
mock.
ether.
I'm not mocking you.
discussion.
I'm disagreeing with
are.
you. Stop.
You are.
Let me just clear
The
this with Darwin.
claim is not.
Let me clear
is
this
not-
with
Come on,
Darwin.
guys.
Right, no.
Do
if
you know how it can be accomplished without energy weapons?
Oh, here we go.
Nathan don't want to talk about weapons.
Neil, can everyone else not hear that me and Arwin are having a conversation? No, Arwin, I'm not going to justify how it could happen and therefore energy weapons. No, you're not going to do that to me. Come on.
Well, do you have another example?
You're going to do it then. That's
That
exactly
could
what you're going to do.
accomplish it?
So I've
I
got to
mean,
come up with
could
it. So
You
I've
could,
got to
you could
justify.
try out, for example, thermite. Thermite is extremely hot. You could imagine pouring that all over a house
Well,
in a car
there's
and then
chemical-
doing that.
we-
Well,
we
guess
could have
what's
a
going to
chemical
happen?
situation.
That's oh
Go
god.
ahead.
It's still going to burn the environment. It's still going to create this radiative heat that's going to set trees on fire 2 meters away, right? Because that's what that type of heat generation does. So whatever caused these
Okay, fine.
buildings and cars
okay.
to disintegrate, it cannot be a chemical
Hello.
fire.
Okay, I've accepted that you've described this as an occurrence. I haven't challenged that in any way, shape, or form. But if there was someone else on the panel telling me that it's unicorn laser eyes, what's the difference? Why is it a step to your explanation after something that you say is impossible to occur naturally? Okay, I'll have to accept that too.
Why?
But it doesn't mean that the extrapolation you have afterwards, which is, I said a massive step, it's actually absurd.
Why? Why is it absurd?
May I
It's a
say
patent-
something real
it's
quick?
patented.
Claim. Don't give me
It's
the, well, you
patented.
tell me what else could cause it, crap. You tell me why it is a
Okay,
bloody
so-
energy weapon.
It's a patented technology. It's possible. You literally remote microwave something until it completely disintegrates on a molecular level. It's a patented process. It exists officially.
So?
Well, if you look at
so?
like for
How- what
example,
else
something
could you
like,
think of?
There we
that
go.
could
It's back to
cause a
putting it on me.
scenario like that?
Back to burden of proof reversal fallacy. So because it's akin to a process, that means it's true. No, I mean, this is poor. You know it and I know it.
It's the only process that we could even get
Was that a
close
snigger?
to explaining.
Did I hear a snigger? Was that
And yet
Arwen?
it is an officially admitted process.
Oh my god. You know this is
Yeah.
bollocks. Why are you even fighting
No,
this?
it's not bollocks. It's called patented technology. Exists officially.
Okay, now we're
People
getting
don't like
somewhere.
to talk about it.
No. Now we're getting somewhere. What patented technology?
Directed energy weapons is the classification.
Yeah, it's called DEW.
DEWs.
DEW.
What's EEW? What's it do?
Dew, like morning dew.
It would be. Let me just explain. So it would be
DEW.
a form of a chemical laser would be one way. So obviously instead of using a diode, you would burn a form of a chemical instead in order for it to be exuded out as a actual laser beam. For instance, this is what they're using in modern technology in terms of on aircraft carriers to take down small aerial drones or even missiles. There are patented technologies, but that doesn't. Besides the point, there are forest fires that are clearly, and I mean very clearly, and historically recorded going past the point of any form of explosive. In terms of when I say explosive, and in terms I mean the thermite. In terms of the advent of thermite, there are forest fires there were forest fires recorded way before the advent of anything such as thermite or any other form of explosive or high burn. Yeah, but like I said, 80% to 85% of forest fires apparently are caused by arson. That's not something that's obviously disputed. Usually,
What does that have to do with it?
Well, the point is you're right. So I think what you're saying to Nathan is that these forest fires are caused by
Let me get it
directed
straight.
energy weapons.
No,
Sorry, a
I'm
second.
not.
Hold on,
I'm not
Crackvillain. Hold on,
talking about
Arwen.
that.
Let me get it straight. He says, with a statistic, I have no idea where it came from. Doesn't matter. Let's not worry about that. But with a statistic that a lot of them are caused by arson. Now, that I can relate to that, right? Arson, starting fires in forests, that I can understand. Discarded cigarette butts might be accidental, etc., etc. That I can understand, right? But you're like, hand wave that, but you're pleading for me to accept direct energy weapon as the cause. But hand wave arson.
So here's the thing, Nathan.
Arson? What an outrage!
Nathan, I was
Here's the thing,
I was
man.
actually trying to stick up
Anytime
for
there's
your
a house
point.
fire, anytime there's any kind of fire, you have what's called a fire inspector, right? And what his job is to come and find the actual source where the fire started. And what they do is they look at any evidence that would indicate something being unnatural, whether it be a chemical induced combustion or whatnot. There's telltale signs, right? So when we're talking about the Paris fire, and we're going to look at the evidence left behind, we can easily conclude the fact that this wasn't a normal fire like Arwen's telling you. The effects of the flames and of the burning medium wasn't normal, right? Like
By any means,
time,
no.
When you have a campfire, I'm sure we've all been around a campfire. You can feel that heat coming off, right?
Absolutely.
Whatever this was a form, right? It wasn't a form of combustion. It was a form of induction, wireless induction.
Molecular disintegration. Molecular disintegration. The very molecules burn up locally. So it's not like a heat radiating from one piece of material to another, igniting it. That's not the type of fire. It's like a local disintegration that doesn't radiate as much heat, yet has to be extremely hot in order for the matter to completely disintegrate. It's very unique.
Okay. Can I just add a little piece to that? I was more trying to stick up for Nathan's point that in terms of evidence, in terms of it being directed energy weapons that would be the cause of forest fires, unless I've got what you were saying wrong, Arwen. The other issue here is that when there is a forest fire now, what's used in order to put them out? Many a time, what is used is actually forms of something that would, like a mitt-click, for instance, which would be a mine-clearing device attached to a tank, right? What they do is they create bands of C4 attached together, almost like a Bangalore torpedo, right? And what they do is they do this to flush out any oxygen in the area and at the same time to create a pressure wave in order to create a vacated area so that effectively
but Crack,
there
we're
is no
talking
way for
about
the
the
fire
Paris
to
fire
continue.
specifically, Crack. You're kind of carrying it off to the forest analogy, but we're talking about specifically about the infrastructure, right, within the Paris fire, which this concrete and the steel rebar within the infrastructure was liquefied within the structure, and the outer extremities showed no sign of deformation from heat exchange.
Now,
Says
this
who?
can only be done through induction.
Where are you getting this information
There's
from?
photographic
Hold on.
evidence.
Oh, God.
Where's it coming from?
Where's it coming from? What's the source of this information?
I think there's
have
a lot of
problem with this too.
information, a lot of pictures, a lot of. I mean, the evidence is still there. It's not like they demolished that town and swept all this stuff away. I mean, people have been filming this
Hold on.
for fucking
Hold
months on end after the event.
Ugh. So where's the source of
Entire-
the information? You're saying pictures. Okay, who's the source of the pictures? Because unless you've been there to verify that the town isn't swiping all this away, just trying to know where this information is. I don't know anything about this. What Paris
Yeah, all
fire?
all the local individuals within that community, after the aftermath, went to kind of look at what's taken place, and we were seeing tons and tons of images from unbiased sources showing motor engine blocks that were completely liquefied into a molten puddle upon the driveway, not showing any type of burn marks on the concrete surrounding the car. So the only way this could happen again is
Stop. You keep getting explanations for how stuff can happen. I just need to know what is the thing that's actually happened. So you're saying unbiased sources. I've got photos, unbiased sources. I just need a bit more detail. Where you're getting this stuff from? I'm not challenging it. I don't know anything about. I don't know what Paris fire means. Didn't know there was one. What I do know is that lots of people around me in both the conspiratorial, what John Le Bon describes as the act realm, and in Normie land, lots of people at the moment are talking to me about fires. Now, I've not got a clue why, but that is the case. Now, at some point, normally when it's when it's three people that have specifically mentioned fires and then go off on a tangent about fires and their opinions on fires and the causes of fires and the conspiracy around fires, I suspect somebody wants us talking about fires. Just what I'm going by. So at this point, I don't really care about the whys and wherefores of whatever the hell the Paris fire is. I don't care. I just want to know where the information comes from and why it's coming our way. That's what I'm trying to ascertain. So if you can't tell me, or just people from Facebook, or that's as much as you've got, that's all I need.
Why? Why would you think that we would know why it's coming our way? I could divine it. I could divine a reason for you. A good reason, even.
I'm not
You want to hear my divined reason?
No.
Okay.
Just want to know what the information is. And like I say, I've explained my reasoning, Arwin. I'll repeat myself. Typically, I pay very little.
No, hey, you'd make a really good lawyer, bro.
Let me just explain to Arwin, because he didn't listen the first time.
All right.
Right. If somebody comes up to me and starts randomly talking to me about fires, then I go, that's interesting. If somebody within a week does the same thing on a different tangent, but specifically related to fires, I might go, I wonder if that's something I should be paying attention to. Then when you end up in a show talking all about fires, and then suddenly we're onto conspiratorial tangents about direct energy weapons, I at that point go, okay, why are we talking about fires and Normieville are talking about fires and Facebook are talking about fires?
So I can answer that.
Go ahead.
Because it's scary and it's convenient to them.
Within the flat Earth community, right? We're under the presumption that we're within a contained system. Okay. Now, the narrative that the mainstream has been pumping is this global warming. It seems as if this global warming effect and our understanding of this supposed firmament kind of coincides with each other. But yet it's like when the globies try to explain that there's no container, it's doublespeak, because within their paradigm, we have the greenhouse gas effect, right? But at the same rate, they're telling us that we don't have this gradient. So it seems as if they're like literally just being hypocritical.
This has absolutely nothing to do with DEW at all. Climate change.
Not DEW, but I'm saying he's asking about fires in general, right? And we've seen
no, not fires in
narrative
general.
for the mainstream talking about this carbon emission and how we need to do something to essentially slow down this.
I understand your
but it has no relations whatsoever to the specific subject.
Fires have a major relationship with the carbon emission.
as well as volcanic eruption. Like all of this kind of coincides.
No way.
Kind of.
Did you say volcanic? Can't believe this. Can't believe this. Give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds.
They're shoehorning it away from the subject.
No, I'm not.
Getting a little
Arwin,
uncomfortable.
can
Subject.
you calm down about your bloody energy weapons? There's more to life. Right. So I'm going to show you this. Somebody else. This makes it 4. So I said there was 3. Now that the guy said volcanic, I'm going to bring up this, which was sent to me by a subscriber. So this is from, did he say I could reference him by name? Just give me 10 seconds. Please don't all just pipe up. Just bear with me. Yeah, he says the pics. He doesn't say I can specifically mention him. I'll just use his first name as everyone starts chirping up. Right, so the guy's name's Pedro. I won't give you any other information on him. But he's from Barreiro, how'd you say it? Barrio, Barreiro - Lisbon. Yeah, that's where it's these images have come from. And he's asking me specifically about smoke and volcanoes. Yeah, similar sort of dealio. So it's like, I didn't pipe up because I got this and thought this is the third thing. And I'm like, no, it's not fires, it's volcanoes at a distance. And it's suddenly in his mind that he should be telling me about volcanoes and smoke and fires. But it's not really the same thing till this dude starts talking about CO2 emissions and global warming and volcanoes. And then I'm like, so this is now connected because this guy's connected it for me. So it's like lots of people have all got the same mindset at the moment. And I just want to know why, Arwin. That's why I'm quizzing it, not because of the excuses or reasoning behind your explanations for whatever the hell the Paris fire is or melting engine blocks. I'm more interested in why are we being steered to talk about this? Therefore, what's the sources of the information? That's normally where I start.
No, you don't get steered to talk about this. Google search algorithms actually avoid it. You really have to go look out for it, and then you'll bump into the conspiracy sector that harps on about it constantly and tries to pull it out of contortion. But it's a real thing. It's been happening for over a decade. It's like entire villages have been disintegrated in California specifically.
Yeah. Everyone's under the spell. Nobody's understanding.
Yeah, under the spell. Yeah, but that village is still gone. And you can I'm not going to do it, but you can go in your car, drive past it and film it live. And then you can see it.
Can you? There. So you have. When did you do it?
I didn't do it.
Where did you get the information from? That's all I'm interested in, but nobody cares.
Live rolling footage.
Okay, bleed through me indefinitely about this crap that you've got and not tell me where it's come from.
I'm going to take blame for this because I messed up when I first identified it. It's not the Paris, it's the Paradise. So if you've been trying to source any information upon what I've said, this is why you're probably not pulling anything up. It's the Paradise fire.
No, I'm not. Hello? What are you doing? No, for about the 5th time, I just want to know where the information's coming from, the source. Just nobody's interested. Do you want to tell me all about the plight of people in villages and talk through me constantly? Oh, God. I'm going to round out this show. I'm starting to get fucking frustrated with everybody.
YouTube's the source.
Oh, right.
Hey, I can give you 3 actual facts that you can look up within 30 seconds.
How incredibly helpful of you. Thank you so much.
Are people not getting what Nathan's saying?
No, clearly not.
There's a narrative toward making us want to discuss fires. What is the connection to it? What is the source information to that? Why are we speaking about it? There's a reason as to why we're talking about it currently. That's why I tried to bring in the statistics. The statistics that I brought in were gathered from fire investigators, right? Which is what he was talking about, cigarette butts thrown, electrical wires, etc., etc. The most common cause of these fires is usually, as I said, human error versus arson, etc., etc. Again, also, then you would need to look into the methodology in which they actually stop fires from continuing to burn. Sometimes thermite and C4 is actually used in those methods. These are established methods.
Okay. We got all that. Okay. Don't want the same. Hello? Yes, I got it all. I don't need it rehashing 5 times for everyone talking through me. When all I'm saying is, yes, so this is the bit I'm trying to put down, but nobody's picking up. So you felt compelled to look and research fires. Oh, wow. That kind of ties into exactly my point now, doesn't it? So suddenly at your fingertips, you've got fire research. Yeah? Oh, right. What compelled you to do so?
the rumors that were kind of overblown sounding.
Individuals.
I had to look into it myself, see the footage.
Oh, here we go. Everyone wants to shout through everyone else telling how compelled you were now. Yeah.
That's what you asked, didn't you?
No. I'm not saying tell me how compelled you were. Nobody's listening. Don't tell me how compelled you were to do it. I've just had that from Crack Villain. Yes, I can now listen to a repetition of how compelled you were in this direction when I'm trying to ascertain why the hell you're compelled in this direction. So don't now tell me about the plight of people or melted engines or how compelled you've been. When I'm trying to ascertain the source of the information and why the hell everybody's suddenly compelled to look into fire information. Now, I'm not compelled. Now, I'm not subject to very much media, but nobody's telling me that it is the media giving them this information. Nobody's telling me anything. They just want to tell me and interrupt me constantly about how bloody compelled they are.
I'm trying to answer
you asked what
Nathan.
compelled you to look into it. I answered what compelled me to look into it.
Arwen, you're off the beaten path, bud. He's asking for the evidence at hand that led you to this conclusion. He wants to know the source of it so he can make up his choice as to whether or not this was a biased source or an unbiased source. And my answer to that, Nathan, is the fact that every individual within that city that experienced that particular fire was on filming on their phones. We've got like hundreds, if not thousands of schools, right? All having collaborated evidence that is specific to the individuals within.
And how many of them do you know?
I'm not talking about an individual.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
And how many of these individuals are you acquainted with or have spoken to?
Me personally?
None.
Did you say me personally, Nathan?
What's the point? Is there a numerical value that will make it worth it?
Oh my God. Lots of triggered people. What is this going to be, Arwen? You're going to tell me about melted engines when I'm trying to actually get the information out of this guy?
Oh, you're going to do it. Well, maybe you should just say, hey, guys, I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Well, I'm talking about it.
Why didn't you say that? Because that is what you're doing.
No, that's not what I'm doing.
You need a numerical value of people.
No, he's asking for the antecedent information that would lead people down the path toward looking into this.
Thank you for the summary. Yes. So the guy's saying, are you asking me if I've got primary source information for what I've just said I can explain? Well, obviously, yes.
I did not interview any direct individuals that were within this, no. But again, everything that I'm gaining, right, is via video provided by the individuals. So I have not interviewed anyone. No.
Oh, God, it's like I'm pulling teeth, blood out of a stone. Photos, videos. Could you?
We don't know.
I know. Immediately, Arwen should start raging through me. My frustration level isn't being tonally expressed enough for Arwen to not pick up what I'm putting down.
Sorry for the summary there, Nathan. That's why.
Yeah, you too, villain. Jesus wept. Was my subtlety not picked up by you either? Right, yeah. So, primary source research. Yeah. What you're telling me is video. Photos. From people. Could you be any more fucking vague?
What is vague about that?
Yeah, I'm not following, Nathan. I apologize. I'm not trying to be
what part
disruptive
of
here.
Where have you got this? If I said to you, oh, you got a map. You're walking around this part of the neck of the woods. Where'd you get that from? What would you say? Would you say from people?
DMV.
Fuck's sake. Where did you get the information from? I've said it about 17 times.
YouTube, and I said it 15 minutes ago.
YouTube, right.
I don't do Facebook, but supposedly all these people, were posting shit on Facebook too. I mean, I wasn't there, right? Like I live several miles away, but so I was, had no other source to rely upon other than the individuals that were making these claims and showing their evidence.
Okay, and do we know any of these individuals?
I need to correct myself, by the way. It's not YouTube.
God, this is so fucking difficult.
I'm starting to get annoyed too.
So do we know any of these individuals? Has anybody interviewed them?
Again, I haven't personally. There has been a ton of interviews. There is a ton of people that know the individuals. I personally do not.
I see. So there's people who know people who've got videos on Facebook and YouTube. Is that correct so far?
Yeah.
Why are you laughing? Oh, stop.
Because
Jesus, who is that in bloody G+? Can you not sense that I'm getting frustrated, guys, in G+? Can you not sense that? You think that a constant stream of interruptions is going to get my temper any more in check? I assume that was Arwen as he left. So, can you explain to my audience why you're chuckling? Don't beat around the bush, just lay it out, because the penny's obviously just dropped.
Because the way you present that, it makes it look like childish evidence, right? Like I'm telling you, I heard a story from someone else type shit. Doesn't sound very convincing, right?
I haven't said that, right? I'm leading you.
Yeah.
You're giving me your evidence for your claims here. This shite that I labelled really early on as total shite, conspiratard nonsense that we've had to spend about an hour on. And now you're like, oh, right, oh, yeah. So what? My friend has got a tennis partner's wife who died in 9/11.
Yeah, but the thing is, Nathan, we're talking about, an entire city.
You're going to go through, so it's back to Arwen's version of the plight of the people, none of which you know or have talked to, none of which you're associated with, and you've seen on the absolutely unequivocally controlled media that is Facebook and YouTube. Man, I'd just take that at total face value. And then I'd decide to extrapolate that shit out into energy weapons to pollute my audience's ears with, and then not understand why I'm getting frustrated with the complete shit that I'm being presented. It's like we move on to a different subject and suddenly everything that we learn here is completely forgotten about. We turn into total idiots. I feel ashamed, frankly.
Yeah, exactly. We turn into the conspirators that we're actually against. We're trying to stick to empiricism, right? We're trying to stick to source information, and then effectively what gets brought in is the exact opposite. So it's extreme. No, wait there a second, dude. It's extremely frustrating. Like I've been starting to get frustrated with this myself, so I can understand Nathan's frustration, because at the end of the day, we're doing exactly the same thing of which we're claiming other people are doing. So now we're doing what they do. Yeah, it's a circle jerk, mate. It's a circle jerk. Right?
Let me ask one thing real quick, so I can fulfill this understanding here. So the claim here is that this is potentially just a conspiratorial, non-existent thing that took place, right? That involved an entire city.
No. Just let me. Crack villain. Thank you. So no. Just do research. For the last week, we've been saying, look, it's pointless trying to tell people to go and do primary source research because either they do it or they don't. Yeah? So why would I go now frustrating myself trying to explain that, no, if you see something like this, it's up to you. It's your own, vigilance. Yeah? That's down to you to check whether or not it's true and find out the validity of it. That's it. That's all I'm saying. And all I'm doing, sat here knowing nothing about it or caring, frankly, is just, all right, just give me the evidence. Let's have a dig into what this is, what it means, who's given us the information, how have we acquired the information, who are they that have given us it, what are they motivated by. Now, these are just bog standard stuff that we do here. But yet we go off the beaten track for 5 minutes and suddenly we're into energy weapons are causing, what was the claim from Arwen? A tree that's burnt next to an area that isn't, that's fucking energy weapons. It's just like, oh, God. Is this really what we descend to when we move off the subject that's kept in check by people like Quantum Eraser? Suddenly we all turn into conspiratard idiots that don't research?
Well, I'll tell you what, maybe I'll take a drive down there this weekend.
Yeah, that would be advisable if you're going to talk about it. Very much so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate that, Nathan, because, I didn't see it that way prior to, and it all makes sense that you lay it out this way.
There's nothing to make sense of. I don't know anything about it. But if I was that way inclined...
You want me to post a little video for you so you can see
I don't care. But the extrapolations of the thing I'm frustrated with, not the event, which I don't know anything about or care about, but from the event to outrageous claims, I'm not even going to rename them, But that is like, okay, why is it that us in this corner, who are, let's be honest, inclined to do that, right, being ushered in with some of these pieces of evidence that seem to be unlinked, but yet linked in terms of people's mindset? So I'm like, that's interesting. Lots of people thinking about the same stuff all at the same time. That's normally not a coincidence, because it's not often the case that if we take something that isn't fires or, smoke or whatever, if you take something that's completely unrelated, that just not a lot of people are thinking about at the moment. So in terms of the lushness of the grass, nobody's thinking about that at the moment. Now, I'm not trying to create a trend or anything by saying that. I'm not trying to subliminally plant it in people's minds. It's just something that we're not talking about at the moment. But if next week suddenly everyone's concerned with the amount of oxygen production of grass and how it's not quite how it used to be, and suddenly the conspirators start telling me it's a fucking energy weapon that's causing the grass to change colour, I'd go, why is everyone suddenly concerned about the colour of the grass? That's interesting.
I never thought about that before. That's actually a good point. I'm going to start looking into that, Nate.
You cheeky bastard.
That was
At least you made me laugh. Look, no, nobody needs to look into the colour of the grass. That is not what I'm saying, and you damn well know it. But you just got to ask yourself, when suddenly some subject is on the minds and in the hearts of everybody, you got to say, well, why? What exactly is leading people down this path?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it seems like it's been like really heavily publicized, right, via the media. I think they're saying that we've had more fires in this last year than I want to say any historical documentation that we have. They say that Eurasian fire in Siberia was bigger than all the combined fires last year. I don't know, man. They're really pushing this hard.
I don't doubt there's a lot of fires. If you were subject to the oppression of COVID and you were a middle-class business owner, I reckon there's a fair few % of them that would just torch their building after losing it all for the insurance money.
100%. This is what I was thinking as well, Nathan, is that's what I'm not saying that's what I would do, but I'm saying that's logically what would follow. Yeah.
Oh no, my business that completely failed over the last 18 months is on fire. Woe is me.
I'm a fire water damage restoration contractor, and it seems pretty odd to me that most of the clients I deal with are high profile clients that have like multi-million-dollar artwork and stuff within their properties.
Exactly.
Right.
It seems a little suspicious, right?
Yeah, you're not kidding.
See that? Then now we're getting to the crux of the matter, right? There you go. That's exactly the point. Like, why is this being spoken of? Why is it being projected outwards so that we're even speaking about it now? And this is where the frustration comes from. Where's the primary source information? Where did it come from? Why are we speaking about it now? Again, what's it connected to also? It's a reification. The whole thing with the forest fires, again, in my opinion, is a reification of the very thing that we hate, which is pseudoscience, right? The pseudoscience of what? Climate change.
Right.
It's deeply connected to it, right?
Yeah, also, if you're going to create lots and lots of narratives about fires, probably because there's a narrative that needs to be buried in it. So, not that I'm trying to figure out what that narrative might be, but yeah, if you can create lots and lots of stories and lots of talk and discourse about a subject, your awkward bit gets buried nicely within it.
Exactly.
Whereas if there's no discussion and clutter and, I hate to use the analogy, but smoke everywhere, your firework gets a lot more noticed.
Sorry.
But you know what I'm saying? If there's lots and lots of talk about, a particular subject and then your awkward bit has to be released into the public, if there's no talk about that awkward thing, then that gets focused on a lot more. Maybe.
But
I'm
it's
just
exactly
speculating.
that. It's the magician with his hand, and it's the sleight of hand. Again, it's effectively, again, like, I don't like to use the analogy, but to dig the trench, right? That puts out the fire, right? Effectively to create a line that stops the burn, that stops the spread. to stop the spread of what, though, right? You know, that's the point. And that's why, again, it'd be very pertinent we would have primary source information from the exact people that experience these things in order that we could denote exactly what's going on. Because otherwise, we don't know whether or not this is just, again, another conspiratard agenda that they wish that we speak out of our mouths. And that's why I started to get frustrated again, because I'm like, well, again, we're just speculating on things about things that potentially could have happened and causes of the thing that could have happened. And therefore, what? We're in conspiratorial land again. And effectively, we are the conspiracy theorists. We're the flat earthers, right? And we're trying to step away from that. We're trying to stick to empiricism. So, and so that's exactly why that would be a frustrating topic to bring up right away. Right, especially when you don't have the things that are there that are needed in order for us to discuss this in a manner.
I get it.
That makes it proper.
It tarnishes the appearance of our camp completely. I understand.
Well, exactly.
No, I don't care about the camp. It's just, you know, you should be ashamed of yourselves. Maybe I should have rephrased it instead of I am ashamed, because that makes it seem like us as a group.
Yeah.
No, you know, it's down to you as the individual to want to know more about these subjects. And now I'm hyper skeptical, generally speaking, because you find out there's a massive lies, and then you kind of go, all right, so the levels of deception go deeper than I ever expected. So, okay, I better remain vigilant at all times when it comes to newly presented information. Just ask a few more questions, and if it intrigues you or affects my life in any way, I'll start digging. And, you know, in this case, I'm like, okay, this seems to be something that you are all interested in. So obviously, by my own standards, I would assume that you want to dig into it. So when you get lots of vague answers from people, you're like, okay, so you've got explanations for your theory, we'll use in the Mystic Meg terms, for why this might be happening. But what's actually happening? And how have you found out what's happening? And how have you verified that is actually what's happening? And if it's just Facebook and YouTube, it's like, well, they are the new TV as far as I'm concerned. Social media replaces the radio and television. So in terms of how that's controlled... Exactly. And manipulated, do you think that the claws of the people who control us haven't got their talons well and truly sunk into Facebook? It's theirs. They created it.
Oh yeah, of course.
Well,
of course.
I'll talk on that for a split second, and this is the issue with Facebook, with YouTube, is that it's effectively the same thing, is that people used to give the news would be given to them, right? They would take it in on face value because reporting back then may have seemed, let's say, a little bit more, intellectually honest, for instance. But now what we have is a self-discovery. So people go into these algorithmic channels, YouTube, Google, whatever it is, and they type things in, and then effectively, because the algorithm's there to aid them toward their discovery of research, while they're researching, these things pop up and these things are presented to them, and it feels organic in nature, when actually it's a very well sort of designed machine in order that it actually swings you out and then back into the tangent to where it wanted you to be in the first place. So it's the same as the news. It's just that now it has this face of organicity to it that you didn't realize was there.
Exactly.
And now, guess what?
Well summarized. Yeah, so everybody that you quiz on things like this, when people present this information back to you as a third party to the information that they're presenting, and you start quizzing them on it, in their mind, they've just discovered this purely of their own volition. It's like, yeah, but you were led to it. You didn't dig into it to find it. And when you found it, you didn't dig into it after the fact. Now, you might have some cursory or ancillary information that you know about that's related, and you can link it to it nice and quick. Now, for us in the conspiratorial land, immediately it's linked to stupid things like energy weapons. You're like, whoa, hold your horses. What's going on? Why are you doing this? You're like, yeah, well, because the well-oiled machines that we interact with have led us all to a particular destination, all at the same time. Now, you all might believe that it's organic and that you just happen to find all these people naturally telling you about this, that, and the other. It's like, well, why does next man know about it and is already clued up to the point where he can have a full-on discussion with you? Did you both just happen to naturally find it? Now, in some circumstances, like with QE and myself the other day, when we were both looking up the definition of triangulation for sextants at the same time, we're both talking about it, we're both in the same circle, we might as well both be in the same research group. So not a stretch for that to happen. But when it's two random strangers, like when I take my rule of three, it's like, I'm not thinking about fires. There was a fire here recently. Literally, for me, I filmed one. Does it mean it's on my mind at all? No. Fires happen. Doesn't stick in my mind in any way. But then when several people come up to me and start talking to me about it or sending me emails about it, I'm like, there's something going on here. People are being led to think about this subject. Now, your description of how they're being led to come to that conclusion, I completely agree with. That's what it's for, to algorithmically lead you to what they'd have just previously told you on TV. That magic trick's a bit old in the tooth now, and people are a bit wise to it. They don't necessarily trust the reporters telling them. But if they find it organically on Facebook, then you can be damn sure they'll believe it instantly without a scrap of research being done.
And that was literally why I started to get frustrated, because, well, obviously the same reason as to yourself, because I guess it's like, well, no, guys, we're supposed to be ahead of the curve, pun intended, on this. We're the ones that are literally supposed to understand that these things are being utilized against us. That look at your YouTube channel, the way that it would be suppressed, the way that different things are suppressed, right? Algorithmically done. So how could it come out of our camp that we wouldn't understand that effectively there could be a form of organic feeling toward a discovery? And like, and that's what winds me up about it. It's like, please, guys, wise up, right? They wish to make conspiratards out of us, and they do so via this way of in this pattern that I continually see, that people come to this conclusion, and this conclusion, as I stated, always seems to be the same, and everyone starts to talk about the same things at the same time, and they feel like they got there organically, so they're staunch on the position. And this staunchness, remember, was instilled into you via an algorithmic flow, and it's that simple.
With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. Of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming streams, hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.